A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
Jerry of the Circus. For Jerry of the Circus.
What a day. I tell you, boss, 1 minute the sun's out, the next minute there's a cloudburst.
Yeah. It looked at noontime like we'd be doing marvelous business at the matinee.
Yeah, and now look. Oh, it breaks my heart to see the Midway deserted like this.
Yeah, the weatherman couldn't have picked a worse time for us.
Well, that's the breaks. Hey, wonder where Jerry is. He ought to be here by now.
Oh, he'll be along soon. I sent for him, and with his curiosity, he won't be able to wait.
I sure hope this shower lets up before the night show.
Yeah. Wow, that sounded pretty close.
Too close to suit me. Say, did you see that lightning?
Yeah.
Listen to that thunder. Hey, I don't blame my old Uncle Alfie for always crawling under the bed.
Yeah. And I've heard that some people hide their heads during these storms. Personally, I wouldn't miss them for anything.
Yeah, well, that's one thing I just as soon do without.
Yeah.
Say, boss.
Yeah?
Think we'll have to put out a runway for the night show?
Well, let's wait an hour and see if it clears up.
Well, at least we're getting one break out of this thing. It's sandy ground. The water pretty much runs off.
Yeah, if it weren't for that banknote coming up, I wouldn't begrudge this storm at all. We've had pretty good luck this season.
Except for little things like a cyclone, a fire, and a runaway train, a few things like that.
Well, as a matter of fact, I was only thinking about the rain. And we've had pretty clear weather most of the time.
Yeah, but this shower sure hits us bad when you consider the cash we're going to have in a day or two.
Well, maybe we'll make it up for it tonight. Yeah, it sounds like it's letting up a little bit now.
That must be Jerry.
Yeah, come on in. The door's unlocked. Oh, Jerry.
You said you got something important for me, Mr. Randall.
And you got wet, Jerry?
No, I ran between the drops.
Oh.
Hey, what did you want, Mr. Randall?
Well, I don't know how important it is, but it has all the earmarks of big business.
Gee, that sounds exciting. What is it?
A letter from the M.O. Railroad.
M.O. Railroad?
Montana Overland Railroad Company.
For me?
Well, indirectly. It's addressed to your father, Timothy Dugan.
Oh.
I took the liberty of opening it, Jerry.
Sure, that's okay.
I thought it might be an advertisement or something, but it's a personal business letter.
Yeah? Well, that's funny. As far as I know, Dad didn't have anything to do with railroads except to ride on them.
Well, here you are, Jerry. You read it.
Sure looks important on the stationery. Say, that's funny.
Yeah. What's funny?
How'd they find out Dad owned that property up there in Montana?
Oh, it's easy enough to check on those things, Jerry. Most deeds to property are recorded. You just have to go to the county registrar's office and check the records.
Oh. But look, Mr. Randall, why would a railroad be interested in what was going to be a dude ranch?
Well, your guess is as good as mine, Jerry.
It's got me. All they seem to want to know is if Dad still owns that property.
Must be important, or they wouldn't tell him to wire collect.
Yeah. Someplace it says... here it is. Please notify us immediately by wire collect, as time is an important factor in this deal. Deal? Oh, it does sound like business, all right.
Sure does.
All they really want to know is the address of the property owner.
Look, the sun's coming out.
Oh, say, you're right, Jim. I didn't notice it had stopped raining. Oh, that's fine. Now, if it'll only hold off until after the show tonight.
Oh, I like the rain.
Well, so do I, but not when it hurts business.
Maybe we'll make this payment yet, boss.
I hope so. But what with the strike and all the unexpected setbacks we've had, it doesn't look too good.
Gosh, I'd sure hate for you to have to borrow again. The interest is fierce on a loan like that.
Gee, I sure wish there was something I could do.
Oh, here, Jim. We shouldn't talk like this in front of Jerry.
yeah.
Well, don't you worry, Jerry. I've been in worse spots than this.
Yeah, and come out alive, too.
Yeah.
I can see that. Well, I hate to bother you about this, but, well, what do you think I'd better do about this letter, Mr. Randall?
Well, I'll tell you what, Jerry. I'll wire them that you're Timothy Dugan's heir and own the property and are with the circus. And they can get in touch with you here if they want to.
Oh, say, thanks, Mr. Randall. I sure appreciate it. What's going on? Sounds like Rags and a cab. By golly, it is Rags. Hey, Rags!
Yeah, where is he, Jerry?
Rags! Hey, Rags, come here. Yeah, I don't know. That's funny. Sounded like it was right out here. Oh, hello there, Speed. Hey, have you seen Rags?
No, I ain't, Jerry, though I reckon I heard him a spell back.
Well, I'd have sworn I heard him out here. And a cat, too. Oh, there you are, Rags. Hey, where have you been, huh? I thought I heard a cat, too. So you've been fighting, huh? You ought to be ashamed of yourself.
Look at him wag his tail. He doesn't look like a guilty dog to me.
He's all out of breath. Hey, where have you been, Rags, huh?
Well, maybe he just came running around when he heard you call him.
Hey, there is a cat around here.
Sounded like it came from that tree over there.
Well, there goes Rags.
Rags, did you chase a cat up that tree?
That's funny. I can't see a cat up there.
I can't either.
Hey, I think there's another cat. Yeah, sounds like it came from the top of the wagon.
Maybe there's two cats. Reckon you must have heard a cat fight.
Oh, now I see the light. Huh? Well, you ought to know, Speed.
Oh, why would Speed know?
Mr. Randall asked us how I was out here, and the rest of you was inside the office wagon.
Yeah.
Did you see a fight, Speed?
No, I was just walking along kind of slow when I come.
It sure is funny we can't see a cat if there's one up on that tent.
It certainly seemed to come from there. Yeah, but no, it's come from that tree again.
Hey, look at poor Rags. He doesn't know where to go.
Poor little pup. He's frantic. Careful, Speed. We don't want to get Rags too excited.
What gets me is I can't find either of these cats.
Neither can I. If you ask me, there's something fishy about all this. Here, Rags. Now, quiet. Come here. Rags, here, old boy. Well, there's something going on around here, and I can't quite figure it all out.
Okay, Speed. Shall we call it a day?
I reckon so, Mr. Randall said, and you think that's enough.
What are you talking about?
Well, Jerry, it's Speed's stunt. You better let him tell you about it.
Stunt? You mean to say, just what is all this?
Maybe we're nuts, Jerry. First there's a cat and a dog fight, and we tear out of here and no cat or dog. Then you call, and along comes Rags. And we hear cats up in the tree and on top of the tents. But no cats. Well, I guess I'd better get out of this business before it's too late. I'm slipping.
Yeah, come on, Speed. You'd better break down.
Well, all right, sir. You see, Jerry, I was brought up on a farm. And, well, I guess I just took natural like the animals. Anyhow, I got to imitate
them. You mean to say that you've been making that meowing?
Well, sure, that's it.
Now, listen. I heard that meowing come from that tree. No one can fool me about that.
So did I. And from the tent top, too. You couldn't have done it, Speed.
Well, then, supposing you tell me where you'd like to hear it come from now, Jerry.
Oh, back of Mr. Randall.
Say, what in the dickens are these animals doing around here?
Does that satisfy you, Jerry? They came from in back of me, all right. Even made me jump.
Well, how can you do it? Send your voice around like that.
A ventriloquist. Well, of all things. And here I thought I was going batty for a few minutes.
Gee, you sure make a swell chicken. He's good, isn't he, Mr. Randall?
Good enough to fool me the other day.
Then you knew about it all the time?
Sure. And I promised to keep it a secret so he could have some fun with you folks.
Well, it sure is a wonderful trick, isn't it, Rags? We almost had you going in circles, huh, Pop? I'll say this is great. Hey, does anybody else know about his speed?
Nope. Looks as how you all are my first subject.
Say, I'd sure like to pull a trick on someone and be in on it.
That's not just like a boy. You no sooner fall for a joke than you want to go out and try it on someone else.
Well, you got a kick out of watching Jim and me and Rag.
Yeah, I certainly did. Well, Jim, I'm afraid we've got work to do, shall we? Let these pranksters cook up their next deviltry alone?
That's okay with me, boss. There's not a cloud in the sky. Maybe we'll clean up tonight.
And Jerry, I'll get that wire off right away to the AMO Railroad.
Oh, thanks, Mr. Randall.
I'll leave you in Jerry's hands, Speed, but I'm warning you, tricks are all right, providing you don't do anything that'll hurt anyone or interfere with the show.
Don't you worry, Mr. Randall. We'll be careful.
I'm beginning to think that with all the talent I've got around here, I ought to open a vaudeville house in the winter and keep all you folks busy.
Say, that'd be keen. Hey, would you really do that, Mr. Randall?
Oh, I'm afraid not, Jerry. Just an idea.
Well, gee, it's a swell one.
No. If I'm going to run a circus, Jerry, it's an all-year-round job. I can't divide my interest. Well, so long.
Bye, sir. And thanks, Mr. Randall, for not letting the folks in on the joke.
Oh, yeah. Be sure and check with me in the morning, Jerry. I should get a return wire by then, I'm sure.
You bet. I'll be around. So long.
So long.
Come on, Rags, old boy. We won't hold a little joke, Jimmy, will you?
Of course he won't. You had as much fun out of it as we did, didn't you, Rags? Now, listen, Speed. We got to think of a humdinger this time. What can we do?
Oh, I don't know. Feels like you'd be a pretty good one to figure that one out, huh?
Well, we might do something when all the folks are together, or...
Can't do anything during the show, you know.
Or we might do something during supper. Then everyone's around.
Reckon I might be able to make a noise like a couple of mice under the table.
Say that sure get the women. But, well, most of the men wouldn't mind much.
The main trouble is that it's so noisy in there, it'd be hard to be heard above the clatter of dishes and voices.
Hey, I've got it.
What?
The Major.
The Major? Well, who's he?
Jiminy Willikers. Haven't you met him yet?
Can't say as how I have, Jerry.
Well, he's about the most important person in the show if you count it according to the square inch. He's a midget. Major might swell when you get to know him. But he gets so excited about things that, well, he'd be a natural to play a trick on.
He ain't superstitious, is he?
Oh, I'll say. He goes to Rosa Roxy all the time when things go wrong.
Who's this here, Rosa
Roxy?
Uh-huh.
Oh, she's a fortune teller. She's good, too.
I'm beginning to get the glim of an idea, Jerry. If you think this here midget's good enough sport to stand it.
Oh, sure. He'll blow off an awful lot of steam, but he's swell when he once gets over things.
You think he might fall for a ghost?
You mean a sheet and everything?
Just a voice that comes from the ceiling of his own room.
I get you. I'll say that'd be a whale of an idea.
You reckon he'd fall for it?
Like a ton of brick. If I only knew something about him, about some of his ancestors.
Appears to me like you're smart enough to get that information.
You bet I am. Oh, gee, Speed, let's do it. You willing?
Sure.
Swell. Right now, Rags and me, we've got a job to do. If you don't mind, I think we'll go visit the Major. Then we'll get together at dinner. Okay, Speed?
Sure thing. Be seeing you, Jerry. So long, Rags.
The Jack Benny Program.
Quality of product is essential to continuing success.
In a cigarette, it's the tobacco that counts, and
LSMFT.
Lucky Strike means fine tobacco. Yes, Lucky Strike means fine tobacco. It takes fine tobacco to make a fine cigarette. And year after year, at market after market, independent tobacco experts, men who spend their lives buying, selling, and handling tobacco, can see the makers of Lucky Strike consistently select and buy that fine, that light, that naturally mild tobacco.
Fine, light, naturally mild tobacco. Yes, Lucky Strike means fine tobacco. And this fine Lucky Strike tobacco means real deep down smoking enjoyment for you.
So smoke that smoke of fine tobacco, Lucky Strike. So round, so firm, so fully packed, so free and easy on the draw.
American.
The Lucky Strike program starring Jack Benny with Mary Livingston, Phil Harris, Rochester, Dennis Day, and yours truly, Don Wilson. Ladies and gentlemen, Christmas will soon be with us, and millions of people are rushing around making hasty last-minute purchases. So let's go back to last Monday and look in on a local department store in Beverly Hills.
Have you made up your mind yet, mister?
Well, I don't know.
That was Monday. We now bring you up to Wednesday. Same store.
Now, look, mister, you've examined them both very carefully. Haven't you made up your mind yet?
Gee, I don't know which one I want.
That was Wednesday. We now bring you up to Saturday. Same store.
Gosh, I wish you hadn't shown me both of them. Let me see that first one again, will you?
Look, mister, I got a wife and 5 kids. I haven't been home in a week. Now make up your mind, will you?
Gosh, I can't decide. This one looks nicer, but the other seems to be more durable.
Oh, Jack, for heaven's sake, shoelaces are shoelaces.
Mary, when you're buying a gift for somebody, you don't rush into things. Now, let's see. If I take the... Oh, pardon me.
Hello? Yes? Oh, thanks. Thanks for telling me. Goodbye.
Gee, it's so hard.
Look, mister, I want to go home. I got 6 kids now.
Oh, well, congratulations. A new baby. Do you mind if I buy something for the little fellow?
No, why don't you buy him a razor?
A razor?
Yeah, by the time you pick it out, he'll be old enough to use it.
That's an old joke.
It was new when we came in here.
Well, look, mister, I'll take these shoelaces, the shorter ones.
Well, thank heavens. Now, do you want the metal tips or the plastic tips?
Here we go again.
I'll take the plastic ones. The metal ones rust.
You're right, Jack, but of course you know the plastic ones crack.
Oh. Well, then wait a minute. Let me see.
If that phone rings again, I'm going to punch you right in the nose.
All right. Give me the metal one.
Yes, sir.
I'll pick them up later. I'm opening a charge account. Come on, Mary. Mary, you have my Christmas list, haven't you?
Yes, here it is.
What does it say?
It says, Dear Jackie boy, I couldn't meet you last night because a customer spilled a chocolate soda all over my uniform, so I had...
The list is on the other side. Give it to me.
Oh, wait a minute, Jack. Who's Josephine?
The little blonde car hop at Simon's Drive-In. She used to work at the Glendale branch, but they promoted her to Beverly Hills. Gee, I hope that chocolate soda incident doesn't send her back to Glendale. You know, she's very pretty, Mary. The Drive-In uses her picture in all their newspaper ads.
Oh, yes, I remember. She was Miss Cheeseburger of 1945.
Yeah. She'd have made it this year, too, but her mustard was on crooked. Just goes to show you. Fate. A little thing like that. Let me see that list, Mary.
Here.
Can I help you, young man?
Help me?
Yes. You've been standing in front of this counter for 10 minutes.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm confused.
Well, that's understandable. You're confused because it's Christmas time. You've got the Christmas spirit. You're doing your Christmas shopping. You're looking at so many different things.
Well, that explains why I'm confused in December. What about the other months?
Well, I wouldn't know about that. I'm a coal miner by trade. I'm just doing this to help pay the fine.
Oh, well, gee, I'd like to get something for my parents.
Oh, your mother and father, eh?
Yeah, how did you know?
I just figured it out.
Oh, I know. I think I'll get my mother a new corset.
Well, don't you think she should come down and pick out her own corset?
Oh, Mother hasn't left the house for 3 days.
Is she sick?
No, the string broke on her old one and she can't get through the door.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah. We were spending a quiet evening at home when boing! In all directions.
Oh, my goodness. Was anybody hurt?
No, but my father got pinned to the wall. Anyway, wrap me up that size 44 corset and I'll take it with me.
Yes, sir.
Now, let's see that list again, Mary. Oh, yes, a dozen blades for Phil, some handkerchiefs for Rochester, some little toy for Dennis.
You told me at Ciro's last night you were going to buy Dennis a grand piano.
Last night I had 4 glasses of muscatel. I'm all right now, so where's the toy department?
Oh, wait a minute, Jack. What about your producer, Robert Ballin?
Oh, yes. I don't know what to get him.
Oh, Jack, look. Why don't you get him one of those new canvas golf bags?
Yeah, he'd love that.
And it's only $15.
Oh. Gee, I just happened to think he doesn't play golf.
Well, why don't you give him a nice cocktail shaker?
Say, that sounds good.
And it's only $12.50.
I just happen to remember he doesn't drink either. What else can I buy him?
A knife and fork. Let's see you get out of that.
Oh, stop, will you? I'll think of something. Now, let's see.
Hi, Jack. Long time no see.
Huh? What? Oh, hello. Come on, Mary.
Who is that?
Oh, he's a racetrack tout I used to see at Santa Anita. You remember we ran into him at the Union Station last year?
Oh, yes.
Say, Mary, I want to get a watch for my sponsor. I wonder where the jewelry department is.
Well, there's the floor walker. Ask him.
Oh, yes. Oh, floor walker.
Yeah.
Can you tell me where the jewelry department is?
Yes, but you'll hate yourself in the morning.
Look, I didn't ask for any wisecracks. You either give me a civil answer or I'll report you. Now, where's the jewelry department?
It's on the 3rd floor.
Thanks.
Like fun it is.
Never mind. I'll find it myself. It's a fine store to do business with.
You walked in here, Lotus Blossom. Nobody dragged you.
Oh, quiet. Come on, Mary. We'll find it. Mary, let's go upstairs and get that watch for my sponsor. We'll take one of these elevators.
Oh, number 5 is just about to go up.
Yeah, let's hurry.
Hey, Jack. Hey, Jack.
Huh? Oh, it's you again.
Yeah. Come here a minute.
What is it?
Where are you going?
Upstairs.
Which elevator you taking?
Number 5. What?
Take number 3. It'll beat 5 to the top by 2.5 floors.
But number 5 is about to go up.
I know, but she's carrying too much weight.
Well, I don't know. what do you think about number 1?
Local. Can't go the distance.
Oh, well, what about number 2?
Slow starter.
Well, it really doesn't make any difference. I'm only Christmas shopping.
Okay. It's your money.
I wonder where he gets his information.
Jack, are we going up or not? So far, all you bought is a pair of shoelaces.
Well, at least the... Say, Mary, I was thinking. Maybe you were right about those plastic tips. I think they're better than the metal ones. I'll go back and change them.
Oh, Jack.
Come on, I'm going to change those shoelaces.
Pardon me, miss. Would you mind waiting on me, please?
Why, yes, sir. What can I do for you all?
Well, honey, child. Where you all from?
Alabama. You know, that's down south.
Well, corn my pone and mint my julep. Shake hands with a fella rebel.
Are you from the South, too?
Am I from the South? Just run your hands through my hair and feel those boll weevils.
Well, I declare. Hey, wait a minute. Your voice is awful familiar. Haven't I heard it before?
Well, sure you have, babe. I'm Phil Harris, the Texas Toscanini.
Well, imagine that. Just wait till I tell the other girls that I waited on Phil Harris. Now, what would you like to buy?
Well, sugar, I don't know.
How would y'all like to see something nice in lingerie?
Now, honey, you know you shouldn't throw me a line like that.
Oh, dear Mr. Harris, you're so cute.
Yeah, everybody notices it.
You know, Mr. Harris, you're so much different than I pictured you to be. On the radio, you're such a braggart. You sound so conceited.
I know, but it ain't really like that, honey. But Benny's writers always write me that way.
His writers?
Yeah, every time they get a hold of a beautiful hunk of man, they make him conceited. Now, look, let's see what I can get for my wife. Oh, I know. Give me one of them negligees there.
Yes, sir. Shall I wrap it as a gift?
Yeah, and fix the package so she can't peek into it. You know, seal it over with some of that there scotch and soda tape.
I'll have it wrapped up for you in just a minute.
But look, Mr. Plastic tips or metal tips, what difference does it make?
Well, it's a gift, and I want it to be right.
But those other shoelaces are more expensive.
I don't care. I'll take them anyway.
When he buys shoelaces, money is no object.
That's right. Give me the expensive one.
All right. You're not hurting me. I work on commission.
Just wrap them, and I'll pick them up later. Come on, Mary.
Jack, I want to stop a minute at the lingerie counter. I like this shade, miss. I'll take this pair of 2-thread hose. You're wrong, lady. This hose is 3 threads. Oh, no, it's 2 thread. I beg your pardon, but it's 3 threads. Listen, sister, don't argue with me. Not so long ago, I was standing right where you are.
That's Senator Mary. Well, hello, Mr. Benny. I see the Yuletime is catching up with you.
Oh, hello, Mr. Kitzel. Are you doing your Christmas shopping?
The things I am buying, for my little daughter I am buying, you should excuse the expression, a piggy bank.
Uh-huh.
And my little boy is at the age where he is going in for sports, but I don't know what to get him.
Well, why don't you buy him a badminton set?
I'll pay a little more and I'll get him a good minton set.
What?
Christmas only comes once a year.
I guess you're right.
But I'm having trouble finding what my wife wants.
What's that?
A mishmashel.
A what?
A mishmashel.
Oh, no, you mean a mixmaster.
That's right, a mixmashel.
Well, I'm sure you'll find one in the appliance department.
Thank you.
Well, goodbye, Mr. Kitzel.
Goodbye.
Mary, while you're buying the stockings, I'll go over to the toy department and get something for Dennis.
All right, Jack. I'll see you later.
Well, there you are, Mr. Wilson. How does that shoe feel?
Oh, it fits perfectly. I'll take that pair.
That's fine. And would you like some extra shoelaces?
No, I always get a pair for Christmas.
Well, that must keep you excited.
Yes, I never know whether I'm going to get plastic tips or metal tips.
Oh, well, I'll have these shoes wrapped for you in just a minute, Mr. Wilson.
Fine.
Oh, hello, Don.
Well, how are you, Jack? Doing your Christmas shopping?
Yeah, I was just going over to the toy department.
I just came from there, and I bought you the most novel thing you've ever seen in your life.
For me?
Yes. In fact, I'm not even going to wait till Christmas. I'm going to show it to you right now.
Well, what is it?
Look.
But, Don, that's nothing but a set of toy wooden soldiers. That's not for me.
Just watch what happens when I wind them up.
But, Don...
Elephant, let's eat. Elephant, let's eat. It's all for you. It's all for me. It's all for we. Elephant, 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 elephant.
Don, it was nice of you to think. Don, I don't want that.
It's around. It's a bird. Better buy Lucky's. Better buy Lucky's. Lucky's bites the smoke for me. Better try Lucky's. Better try Lucky's. L-S-L-S-M-L.
Oh, darn it, I'll have to wind them up again.
Never mind, Don, I don't want it, but it was a nice thought anyway. See you later.
Don't bother wrapping them as a gift. Here you are. Thank you. Oh, hello, Dennis.
Hello, Miss Livingston. Gee, am I tired. I just walk up to the 6th floor and back.
Walk? Why didn't you take the elevator?
Well, I was going to take elevator number 3, but some man came over and told me it was scratched.
Oh, yes. He's a friend of Jack's. What are you doing here in the music department?
Oh, I was just going to buy some records. Here's a swell one, Mary. You want to hear it?
Yes, put it on.
Okay. Oh, buttermilk sky, I'm keeping my eye peeled on you. What's the good word tonight? Are you gonna be mellow tonight? Oh, buttermilk sky, can you see a little donkey in me? We're as happy as a Christmas tree, heading for the one I love. I'm gonna pop her the question, that question. Do you, darling, do you do? It'll be easy, so easy, if I can only bank on you. Oh, buttermilk sky, I'm telling you why, now you know. Keep it in mind tonight. Keep a brushing those clouds from sight. Oh, buttermilk sky, won't you tell me when I'm needing you most? Hang a moon above her hitching post. Hitch me to the one I love. You can if you try. Don't tell me no lie. Will you be mellow and bright tonight? Buttermilk
Mary, I was looking for you. Where have you been?
Oh, I was just talking to Dennis.
Oh. Now, let me look at that list again, will you?
Here you are.
Gee, I still have to get a present for my old girl, Gladys Zabisco. I don't know what to get her. Do you think she'd like a lipstick?
I don't know. She got lips?
Don't be so catty. I think I'll buy her a bottle of perfume. Let's see what else. Oh, yes, I'll have to send something to Fred Allen.
Fred Allen? I didn't know you and Fred exchanged gifts.
Oh, sure. This year I'd like to get him something he needs. I wonder what department sells plasma. Oh, well, come on, I'll get the perfume first. I think it's right over there, but...
Oh, look, there's Jack Benny.
What's that?
May I have your autograph, Mr. Benny?
My autograph?
Yes, it will make me so very happy.
Yes, indeed, so very happy.
Well, I'll be glad to. There you are.
Oh, thank you very much, Mr. Benny. Thank you. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Who was that guy, anyway?
What's the difference as long as he's happy?
Yeah.
Well, here's the perfume counter.
What?
Here's the perfume counter.
Oh, yes. Pardon me, sir. I'd like to buy some perfume.
Okay, mister. What kind of perfume would you like?
Well, I don't know. What's popular right now?
Well, here's something that's not too strong, yet leaves a trail of broken hearts.
Oh.
It's called Avec Très Je t'aime beaucoup, my chérie très bien.
What does that mean in English?
Condensation of steam that's been forced through a motorman's glove.
Gee, they go to so much trouble. No, I don't think I'd like that.
Well, here's some other perfume called Essence of Smog.
Well, I don't know. Mary, do you think I ought to take a bottle of this?
Certainly.
How much is it, mister?
This is $25 an ounce, and the other one I showed you is $30.
Well, haven't you anything a little more reasonable?
Yeah. I even have some perfume for 25 cents an ounce.
25 cents an ounce. What kind of a bottle does that come in?
It don't come in no bottle. We keep it on tap.
On tap?
I bet they serve pretzels with it.
Well, I don't think I'll take any. By the way, mister, how come they put a fellow like you behind the perfume counter?
Oh, my regular job is in a delicatessen department slicing Limburger cheese.
Limburger cheese?
Yeah. Once a month they send me here to neutralize it.
Well, what do you know? Come on, Mary. I'll get the perfume later. Let's go home, huh? I'm tired.
Well, don't forget to stop at the notions counter to pick up the shoelaces you bought, the ones with the plastic tips.
The shoelaces?
Mm-hmm.
I bet. Hey, wait a minute. Did I get the plastic tips?
Sure, you went back and changed them.
Oh, yeah. You know, Mary, now that I think about it...
Jack!
Yes, Mary, I might as well get what I want, and I'd rather have the metal tips. Come on.
Oh, look, there's Rochester buying some neckties.
Yeah, and that floor walker's waiting on him. Let's sneak up behind him.
I think this tie is beautiful. It's very unusual.
Yeah, but I don't think my boss would like it. It isn't his style.
I see. What type of man is your boss?
Well, he's medium tall, medium weight, and rather conservative.
You mean he's conservative in appearance?
It goes deeper than that.
At least he's subtle.
Quiet, I want to hear this.
Now, here's a nice tie. Maybe he'd like this one.
Yeah, that's a pretty thing. How much is it?
It's only $3.50.
How much?
$3.50.
Too bad. He would have liked that one.
Oh, fine.
Well, if you don't want to spend quite so much, here's a nice tie for 89 cents.
Well, that's close to what I have in mine and wallet.
Of course, it might be a little too plain for your boss. Is he a young man?
No.
Is he middle-aged?
No.
Is he elderly?
Wrap it up!
Rochester Van Jones.
Oh, hello, boss. I didn't see you.
I know you didn't. Don't be buying me any 89-cent ties.
You keep out of this. I'm working on commission.
Well, now, look, Rochester, you've been with me 10 years now, and I've been very nice to you. I've always tried to make things pleasant for you and keep you happy, haven't I?
I'd like to hear Judge Goldberg's opinion on that.
Never mind. Now, I'm leaving you here, and I want you to decide for yourself whether or not I'm worth more than an 89-cent tie. Come on, Mary, let's go. Say, Mary, which tie do you think Rochester's going to buy me? The one for $3.50 or the one for 89 cents?
Well, if you were Rochester, which one would you buy?
I'll fire that guy. Oh, here we are, Mary. Here's the notions counter. Oh, say, mister.
Yes?
About the shoelaces I bought.
Oh, yes. I've got them all wrapped up. Here you are.
Well, I've been thinking about the plastic tips. And I think the metal tips would be much better.
No.
But all I want to do is change them.
Change them, he says. This can't be happening to me. This must be a dream.
Look, mister.
I've always been a good man. Always did the right thing.
Look, mister.
Worked hard in this store. A loyal employee.
Look, clerk.
When the Christmas season started, they gave us our choice of department.
I know.
I could have had any counter I wanted. But I took shoelaces.
Look.
Shoelaces! And why? Because I thought it would be easy. Simple.
Mister.
Metal tips. Plastic tips. And we've got rubber tips, too. But I wouldn't tell you. I wouldn't tell you. I wouldn't tell you.
Come on, Mary. There's a crowd forming. Let's get out of here.
Jack will be back in just a minute, but first here's my good friend, Mr. L.A. Speed Riggs.
In a cigarette, it's the tobacco that counts. And today, tomorrow, always. Lucky Strike means fine tobacco.
Mr. Dewey H. Huffey, an independent tobacco auctioneer of Reedsville, North Carolina, was born and raised in the tobacco business. He said,
season after season, I've seen the makers of Lucky Strike buy tobacco that's mild, ripe, and mellow. Fine tobacco that tastes good and smokes good. I've smoked Lucky's myself for 29 years.
Year after year, independent tobacco experts like Mr. Huffine, auctioneers, buyers, and warehousemen, can see the makers of Lucky Strike consistently select and buy that fine, that light, that naturally mild tobacco.
Fine, light, naturally mild tobacco. Real Lucky Strike tobacco, yes?
LSMFT.
Lucky Strike means fine tobacco. And fine tobacco means real deep-down smoking enjoyment for you.
So smoke that smoke of fine tobacco, Lucky Strike. So round, so firm, so fully packed, so free and easy on the draw.
Say, Mary, that department store was certainly crowded, wasn't it?
It sure was.
And they had so many people working there. There was Mel Blanc, Gerald Moore, Frank Nelson, Benny Rubin, Viola Vaughn, Artie Auerbach, Sandy Bickert, Pete Leeds, Elliot Lewis. And you know those little wooden soldiers that sang?
Yeah.
Sounded just like that quartet, the Sportsmen. I was going to mention my writers, too, but they wouldn't even come in for the show. They stayed in Palm Springs. I hope they run out of suntan oil. Good night, folks.
NBC, the National Broadcasting Company.
Good health to all from Rexall. Yes, it's Sunday, time for the Phil Harris Alice Faye Show, presented by the makers of Rexall Drug Products, and 10,000 independent Rexall family druggists. Good evening. This is your Rexall family druggist, taking a little time from behind the prescription counter this Sunday evening to speak for all 10,000 of us. The 10,000 independent druggists who have added the word Rexall to our own store names. You can always tell us by the orange and blue Rexall sign on our windows. The sign means that we carry the 2,000 or more drug products made by the Rexall Drug Company. They range all the way from aspirin to penicillin. And they're as fine and pure and dependable as science can make them. We independent druggists recommend them to our customers because we know you can depend on any drug product that bears the name Rexall. Good health to all from Rexall. And now your Rexall family druggist brings you the Phil Harris Alice Faye Show. Written by Ray Singer and Dick Chevrolet with Elliot Lewis, Walter Tetley, Robert North, Janine Roos, Ann Whitfield, Walter Sharp and his music, yours truly, Bill Foreman, and starring Alice Faye and Phil Harris. Today, Phil and Alice are doing their last program of the season. So they're up bright and early this morning, getting ready to go to NBC for an 8 o'clock rehearsal.
Well, Alice, today's the last program of the season. You know, it's been a swell year, and it's really been a pleasure working for Rexall.
Yes, it has. But, Phil, do you think Rexall has been happy with us?
Well, why shouldn't they be? Our program has helped their business.
How do you know?
The sponsor told me. Mr. Scott said my singing alone has increased their sale of aspirin tenfold. And he thinks you're great on the show, too, honey.
He does?
Yeah, and he should. After all, you're much more important to the show than I am.
Oh, no, Phil. You're more important.
No, you are. You have more talent, you're a better performer, and you have more personality.
I know, but you try. You've got a little talent, kid. Just stick with me, and in a year or two, you might crush the big time.
Thank you, Horace Height. You know, honey, after a little vacation, it's going to be nice to go back on the air for Rexall again in the fall.
Phil, are you sure we're going back? You know, Mr. Scott and you didn't get along too well.
Personalities have nothing to do with it. I got a contract for next year.
But suppose he tries to break it.
Don't be silly. How can he break my contract?
That's what Mr. Scott asked his lawyer yesterday.
I was wondering how long it would take this little pip to squeak.
Mr. Scott doesn't think you add anything to the program, Philip.
Well, how can he say that? The public loves me on the air, especially the women. Why, I'm the greatest thing that has happened to the American housewife since steel wool.
Yes, and Mr. Scott says you're just about as entertaining, too. He doesn't particularly like your band either, and I don't blame him.
Now, wait a minute. What's wrong with my band?
Well, they can't read music, can't play, they're stupid, they're uncouth.
Hold it. Them guys ain't uncouth. They're dignified, sophisticated gentlemen.
I suppose you think they're suave.
I do, and I ain't the only one. Everybody says they're the biggest bunch of suaves in the business.
It'll be a pleasure to hear some good music when Guy Lombardo replaces you on the air for the summer.
My band is just as good as Lombardo's.
Oh, how can you say that? Guy's band plays the sweetest music this side of heaven.
So does Phil's. It isn't his fault if they sound like they're coming from the opposite direction.
People don't appreciate a good band when you hear it. My boys
Daddy,
can play
we're awfully sorry to hear the bad news.
What bad news?
That Rexall is firing you and hiring Guy Lombardo.
Oh, no. That's just for the summer. I'm not being fired.
I didn't think so, Daddy. I like your band much better than Mr. Lombardo's.
There's a juvenile that has an ear for music. Why do you like my band better, Alice?
Because they play louder, they make more noise, they're funny looking.
No. Why do you have to come in here every morning with a mouthful of mashed potatoes? Gee whiz, you'd think that somebody...
Oh, Bill, it's 7:30. If we have a rehearsal at 8, we'd better get started for the studio.
All right. Well, here we are, Alice. Let's get into the studio.
Do you think the band is here yet?
They'll be here. Don't worry about them. When I ask those guys to do something, they do it. They're a lot more loyal to me than my own family, who can't seem to wait until Lombardo takes over. See? See what I told you? Look at them all sitting there waiting for their leader. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning, Mr. Lombardo.
Oh, these fellows are really loyal to you, Guy. They don't even know you. I'd better introduce you to them. Oh, fellas!
What do you want, Carmen?
Now, wait a minute. Now, look, you guys, I'm Phil Harris, and I'm still the leader here.
I know that. We never have gotten up this early. Frankie played it smart. He ain't here yet.
Quiet, will you? I'm the boss of this outfit, and you'll do as I tell you. When I order you guys to be early, I don't want to hear any moment... Hey, Sammy. Sammy, wake up.
Huh? What happened? Where am I? What time is it?
It's time you were up. It's 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock? I haven't been up this early since I was in the Army, and... Oh, no, don't tell me I've been drafted again.
Looks like we all been drafted. It's like being in the Army.
All right, will you not quiet? Cut it out. You're not in the Army. Artie, is everybody here?
I'll see, Captain. Count off, men. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're in the Army now. We're not behind the plow. Never get rich by digging in this. We're in the Army now.
Now, wait a minute, you guys. Shut that...
We're marching for friends. Hold the man. Hold the man.
Hey, now, you guys... Stop that! What's the matter with you guys? I never heard anything like...
Keep the home fire while your hearts are yearning.
All I did was ask them to get up at 8 o'clock, and they fight a whole war. Not even the right war. Fellas, please, will you forget about the Army and forget Lombardo? I just want to rehearse the music for today's show. Now, if you're ready, let's start with our opening theme. A 1, a 2... You guys, look, if you don't stop it, I'm going to bang your heads together. Come to think of it, it'd probably get better music that way. Now, let's skip the theme. Alice and me are going to do a double today, so let's run over that. And I want you to play it just as if you knew what you were doing. Alice, give them the music.
That ain't gonna help.
Well, let's try and see what happens. Okay, fellas, let's go.
I simply can't
But baby,
stay.
it's cold outside.
I've got to go
But
away.
baby, it's cold outside.
This evening has
I'm
been
hoping that you drop
so
in.
very warm.
I'll hold your hands there just like
My
ice.
mother will start to worry.
Beautiful, watch your
And
hurry.
father will be pacing the floor.
Listen to the fireplace.
So really, I'd better stay.
Beautiful, please don't
Well,
hurt.
maybe just a half a drink
Put
more.
some records on while I
The neighbors may
But
think.
baby, it's bad out there.
Hey, what's in
No
this
cabs
drink?
to be had out there.
I wish I knew
His
how
eyes are like starlight
to
now.
break the spell.
I'll take your hat, your hair looks
I
swell.
ought to say no, no,
Mind
no.
if I move
At
in
least
closer?
I'm gonna say that I
What's
tried.
the sense of hurting
I
my pride?
really can't
Oh, baby,
say.
don't hold out.
Oh, but
baby,
it's
it's cold outside.
I simply must
But
go.
baby, it's cold outside.
The answer is
Ooh,
no.
it's cold outside.
The welcome has
How
been
lucky that you dropped
so
in.
nice and warm.
Look out the window at that
My sister
storm.
will be suspicious.
Gosh, your lips look
My
delicious.
brother will be there at the door.
Waves along the tropical
My
shore.
maiden aunt's mind is
Gosh,
vicious.
your lips are delicious.
Well, maybe just a cigarette more.
Never such a blizzard
I've
before.
gotta get
But
home.
baby, you freeze out there.
Say, lend me a coat.
It's up to your knees out there.
You really
I
did
thrill
right.
when you touch
Oh,
my hand.
don't you see?
How can you do this thing to
There's
me?
bound to be talk tomorrow.
Think of my lifelong
At least
sorrow.
there will be plenty
If
implied.
you caught pneumonia
I
and died,
really can't
get
say.
over that old doubt,
Ah,
baby.
but
It's
it's
cold outside.
I don't get it. It's the end of June, it's 94 in the shade, and they're singing about how cold it is outside.
Well, if it ain't Rip Van Remley. Why are you late again?
I couldn't help it. I was studying.
You? Studying?
Yeah. I was up all night cramming for a sobriety test.
Hello, Frankie.
Oh, hello, Alice. Hey, I'm sorry to hear Lombardo's taking over your husband's job with Rexall.
Remley, Lombardo is just replacing me for the summer. It's temporary, not permanent.
How do you know?
Why should the sponsor want to hire Lombardo and get rid of me? I got much more to offer. In the first place, I've got a good band.
So is Lombardo.
Well, so far we're even. Now let's go to point 2. Lombardo ain't a comedian.
You're still even.
Point 3. Lombardo don't sing like I do.
That puts him ahead. Guy doesn't have to sing. His brother Carmen does the singing.
That evens us up again. Now we come into the home stretch. Let's compare our individual musicians, shall we? Mm-hmm. I've got Newman on piano, Hagen on drums, and you on guitar, and foul! Let's go back to the post and start again.
Phil, don't listen to Frankie. You know you have a contract with Rexall for next year.
That's right. And by the way, Scotty's coming down this morning to pick up the option. So, Frankie, don't do anything to antagonize him, huh?
Just this once, Frankie. Just be nice to him. Play up to him and make him think you're crazy about him, huh?
All right, I'll play up to him. I'll make him think he's a great...
Good morning, everyone.
Oh, good morning, Mr. Scott. My, but you look handsome today.
Simply devastating.
Thank you. Hello, Remley.
Oh, Scotty, how are you? I've missed you terribly, and every moment away from you has been an eternity.
What are you driving at?
Scotty, darling, would you like to go steady?
Just be nice. You don't have to get engaged to him.
Oh. Scotty, I'll thank you to return my fraternity pin.
Harris, have you ever taken Remley to a doctor? Something should be done to help him.
Oh, something is being done. He's having his head examined by a psychiatrist.
What did they find wrong with his head?
We don't know. They haven't sent it back yet. Chief, would you like to hear what we're going to do on today's show?
No, I don't have the time. I'm catching a train for New York in a couple of hours. I dropped in with the commercials. I just finished writing them.
Mr. Scott, are you the one who writes those literary gems? Did you hear that, Frankie? Mr. Scott is the man who writes the commercials.
He looks like the kind of a guy who would. Don't you like the Rexall commercials, Remley? I could take them or leave them. Hey, Scott, what's this I hear about you replacing Curly with Lombardo? It's no concern of yours, Remley, so don't bother your soft little head with it. Harris, I have to take the option renewing you for next year to New York. Just sign here.
I'll be glad to
Not
sign.
so fast. I'd like to look this paper over before I let Curly sign.
Frankie, now keep out of this.
Curly, aren't you going to read it first? I think this guy's pulling a fast one. He's got an awful shifty look. He doesn't have to read it. Now, I'm in a hurry, Harris. Just sign here.
Yes, sir. Well, there's my signature, Mr. Scott.
Oh, what beautifully formed X's.
No, that's not my signature. My name is spelled out up there.
Then what are these X's?
Kisses. I love my sponsor. And I want you to be sure and tell him, too, when you get back to New York, Scotty.
Oh, I'm sure that will thrill the 10,000 independent druggists no end. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to make a phone call. I'll be back to say goodbye.
Well, Alice, we're all set. We signed our option for next year.
How do you know it was an option? Did you read it?
Well, no, but... Well, what else could it be?
It could be a release form. He wouldn't let you read it, and he was awful anxious for you to sign it.
Oh, stop it, Frankie. Mr. Scott is happy with Phil on the show. Why, he calls him after every program.
Yeah, and you should hear what he says about my band and my singing and my comedy, and oh, what a sneaky way to get rid of me. Hey, Alice, Frankie may be right. Maybe it was a release form. If it was, I got to get it back, but how?
Pick his pocket.
Frankie. Look, Phil, if you're in doubt, all you have to do is ask Mr. Scott, and he'll show it to you. I'm sure that he
Well, I'm all set to leave, and I'll say goodbye to you all. And
hey, before you go, Mr. Scott, may I see that option I signed?
What option? Oh, that. Oh. I don't have time now, Harris.
No, but Mr. Scott, I insist on
Harris,
seeing...
I have a train to catch, and I have to... Remley, stop jostling me. I have to hurry. Goodbye, everyone.
Come back here, Scotty. I want to... Oh, he's gone.
Let him go, Curly. I got the envelope.
Frankie, you picked his pocket. How can you do a thing like that?
Well, first you jostle them. When they're off balance, you put your hand...
I didn't mean that.
Oh. Remley, that's a horrible thing you've done, but as long as you've done it, open the envelope and see what I signed.
Okay. That's what it says. Super Chief, car 42, compartment... Curly, I got news for you.
What?
You just signed up as porter for the Santa Fe.
Remley, those are his railroad tickets. You picked the wrong pocket. If that is a release form and Scott gets to New York with it, I won't be working for Rexall.
So what? Santa Fe is a bigger company. How are you at making up berths?
Good. Remley, this ain't fun. We got to keep Scott from getting on that train.
Yeah, but how are we going to keep him from getting on that train?
Well, we got to think of something. This'll take brains.
Let's put our heads together.
That ain't gonna do it. Fellas, did it ever occur to you that Mr. Scott can't go to New York as long as you have his railroad tickets?
Yeah, really, that's it. He could. Sure. He can't leave town. I won't give him his tickets until he...
Phil, this is all ridiculous. I'll go to the Rexall office and ask them what you signed. I'll be back soon.
Hey, you're wasting your time, Alice. They'll just give you a runaround. Anybody can see this is just a smart move to get rid of Curly.
Well, it ain't gonna work. Frankie, we got to find some way to get that release back from Scott. In an honest way, of course.
Of course. All we got to do is break into his house tonight, sneak into his room, and...
Wait a minute. We can't do that. We'll get arrested and thrown in jail.
Yeah. Well, we'll just have to find a fall guy.
Who's going to risk a jail sentence just so...
Mr. Harris!
Well, if it ain't little Joliet Julia.
Yeah, Alcatraz Abruzio. Julius, little chum, you've arrived at an opportune moment. We're going to give you a chance to do us a favor.
Oh, lucky little me.
Hey, kid, I want you to perform a little task for me. It's a very simple mission.
Yeah, it's called Operation Penitentiary.
Now, look, Julius, all I want you to do is to commit a harmless little crime for me. And if you do it, I'll pay you well.
Keep talking, pear-shape. What do you want rubbed out? And if it's Mr. Renly, it's on the house.
I don't want nobody rubbed out. All I want you to do is to break into Mr. Scott's house and steal something.
Anything in particular, or can I ad-lib?
You mean you'll do it for us?
Go stick your head in the buzzsaw.
Now, wait a minute, Julius. This is important. Mr. Scott has a paper I signed, and if I don't get it back, I'll be fired, and next year I won't be on the air.
Good, then everybody can start breathing it again. Go on, Mac.
There's a lovely child.
Yeah.
He has all the charm of an old sweatshirt, that kid. Now, what are we going to do about trying to get that paper back?
Just take it easy, will you, Curly? We got time. Scott can't leave town while we got his tickets. We'll manage to think of some...
Harris, have you seen my railroad tickets around here? I seem to have lost them.
Oh, what a pity. Now you can't go to New York today, Scotty.
Yes, I can. I'll fly there.
Fly? Excuse me a minute, Scotty. We're not prepared for this emergency.
I'm prepared. Scotty, I happen to know that the regular airlines are all booked up, but if you insist on flying, I can get you on a plane that costs a lot less than the regular airlines.
How can you do that?
I know a guy.
You know a guy, Remley? That's wonderful.
Wonderful. Fine sponsor. He don't even listen to his own program.
Come on inside. We'll call him. This guy runs a private airline.
Remley, I thought you were on my side. What are you getting him a plane for?
Don't worry, Curly. You'll never ride on this one. Here we are. I'll just call and let you make the reservation, Scotty.
Well, now, Remley, are you sure this is a dependable airline?
Would I give you a bum steer? I hope this is the right number I'm calling.
Hello, this is the Are you going to be sorry you didn't take a train airline?
This is the right number. Here you are, Scotty. You talk to him.
Oh, thank you. Hello? I have to go to New York, and I want to fly in one of your planes.
Oh, you mad, impetuous fool, you!
You don't sound as if you have much confidence in your plane.
Oh, but I do. We have the largest and heaviest planes in the country. In fact, they're so heavy we had to have an extra long runway built because it takes a little time to get them off the ground.
That's nice, but I want
you'll love flying in one of our planes. You'll take off in Los Angeles, and before you know it, you're passing through Chicago.
You mean over Chicago?
No, through it. I told you. It takes a little time to get them off the ground.
Yes. I don't believe I'd care to fly to New York in one of your planes.
And why not? For the past 10 years, we've had planes leaving for New York every single day, and I assure you, you have nothing to worry about.
Oh, well, how long does it take one of your planes to fly to New York?
That's hard to say. None of them ever made it yet.
I must have a bad connection. I can't be hearing this. I wouldn't fly in one of your broken-down crates.
Please. We spend a fortune to get the most modern planes available, and you have the nerve to malign.
All right. All I want to do now is to get a plane leaving for New York. Do you have one leaving today?
We will if we have our Stratosphere Special repaired by then. We're having a little trouble with the motor, and the propeller won't turn.
What's wrong?
The rubber band broke.
goodbye.
What time are you taking off, Scotty?
Remley, where do you get your friend?
He rubs two bartenders together and up they jump.
Now I'll have to take a bus to New York.
But you can't go until I get that... Mr. Scott, I'm going to make a deal with you. Will you give me back that paper I signed if I find your train tickets in Remley's pocket?
Remley's pocket? Give me those tickets, you dip.
No, not till you give us that paper.
All right. Here it is.
Thanks. Okay, Curly, we got it back. I'll take care of this right now.
But, Frankie, maybe we should have read it before you tore it out.
Please. I know what I'm doing every minute.
Bill, I just came from the Rexall office, and as usual, Frankie's wrong. They're picking us up for another year, and that was an option you signed.
Of course. I don't know why Remley tore it up.
Oh, no. Look, Mr. Scott, there's been a terrible mistake. Please give Phil another chance.
All right. I'll do it for your sake, Miss Faye. Harris, I'll mail you another copy. Goodbye, knucklehead.
Oh, thank you, most exalted one.
Well, Curly, thanks to me, you'll be working again next year.
Yeah, Remley, the things you do to me, I don't know why I don't fire you off the show.
You need me.
I need you? Remember, Remley, you could be replaced.
Are you kidding? Who can you get to replace me?
I know a guy.
Alice and Phil will be back in just a moment. But now here's your Rexall family druggist. I'd like to depart from my usual role this evening in order to deliver a personal message to the stars of our show, Phil Harris and Alice Faye. Phil, Alice, I'm speaking now for the 10,000 independent Rexall druggists of America when I say thank you for a season of grand entertainment.
It's been a pleasure, Griff. And we, in turn, would like to thank the 10,000 independent Rexall druggists for giving us the opportunity to come into the homes of so many swell people. We're grateful to all of you listeners, and if I ever get my own money, I'll buy you a soda sometime.
And I'd like to add our thanks to our wonderful cast and production staff. Good night, everybody, and have a nice summer.
And don't forget, our whole gang will be back with you in the fall, so keep your radios warm. We don't want you to miss our opening show on September the 18th. And good luck on the summer show to Guy Lombardo and all of these boys. Have a swell season, Guy.
Thank you, Phil. And now, friends, please accept my invitation to be with us next week at the same time when the makers of Rexall drug products and 10,000 independent Rexall family druggists bring you Guy Lombardo and his music. We hope to add to your summer enjoyment with this grand half hour of tuneful listening. In the meantime, whenever you have need of reliable drug products, remember the store with the orange and blue Rexall sign on the window. There's a family druggist inside that store, able and anxious to serve you. And he'll be glad to tell you you can depend on any drug product that bears the name Rexall.
Good health to all from Rexall. This program was produced and directed by Paul Phillips. Included in today's cast were Gail Gordon, Frank Nelson, Jerry Hausner, and Ollie O'Toole. The part of Frankie Remley was played by Elliot Lewis, and Julius was played by Walter Tetley. Alice Faye appears through the courtesy of 20th Century Fox. And now this is Bill Foreman wishing good health to all from Rexall.
This is NBC, the national broadcasting company.
Put gas in your washing machine. Get your clothes out bright and clean. When you get your wash, you'll sing. CUV does everything.
Hello there. We've been waiting for you. It's time to play Truth or Consequences. Truth or Consequences, the show that does everything on the air, brought to you by Does, the soap that does everything in your wash. Now, here's that Saturday night fixture, the original front parlor cut-up with his new friend, the walking man, Ralph Truth or Consequences Edwards. Well, thank you very much, Harlow Wilcox. Greetings, party players. And if Chester A. Riley is listening, ooh, what happened to him? We make our first phone calls for walking man winners tonight. But remember, you must be at the phone number given on your entries. But first, a special announcement for the ladies. Wait till I blow the suds off them. Here we are. Thank you. Try Does next wash day, ladies, and Does cover that right down the wash line. Does everything. Hello, how are you? What'd you say?
Fine.
Fine, yes. I thought Harlow wrote that very well for me to read, didn't you think?
He did.
What is your name, sir?
Chinnery.
Sir?
Red Chinnery.
What's that?
Red Chinnery.
Oh, I hadn't noticed it on you there, but it's nice to have you, Mr. Chinnery. Where are you from?
Hawthorne.
Good. Here's the question. Where's Hawthorne?
Southern California.
No, that isn't the question, but Mrs. Arthur, what is your occupation?
Steel worker.
Oh,
Steel
well,
rigger.
sort of in the same business. Stealing from the... All right. Mrs. Arthur S. Nelson of Des Moines, Iowa. Any family, Mr. Chinnery?
Yes, sir.
How many?
Wife and daughter.
Good. What's the daughter's name?
Phyllis.
What is it that men get from their favorite newsstand and women get from their favorite dress shop? Truth or consequences? My, if that guy Riley takes after us like he said he was going to do. What is it that men get from their favorite newsstand and women get from their favorite dress shop? The new look. Don't forget to get a look. All right, well, you haven't told truth, so you must pay the consequence. Isn't that exciting, Mr. Chinnery?
Terrible.
Doggone, I got a terrific reaction from you. We're not keeping you up, are we?
Oh, no.
Where's the steel working that you do?
Out in Safeway Scaffold, out in Culver City.
Yeah, well, you're safe you're safe out there. All right. Now, Mr. Chinnery, your consequence is really simple. All we want you to do is put on a tuxedo and pretend you're Ralph Edwards, the master of ceremonies of truth or consequences. Want to do that for the next few minutes?
Yes, sir.
Now, this will be a real test because people will try to get you to say your real name. But if you keep up the pretense that you are Ralph Edwards, master of ceremonies of truth or consequences, all during your consequence, we'll award you $50 in cash. Now, run off stage and get into your tuxedo. Will you do that? Fine. Al Pats will take you off. He's a silent man, but he's strong, and he's in there. Remember, no matter what happens, $50 if you pretend to be no one else but me, Ralph Edwards. There he goes. Gone? Can't hear? Ooh, what's going to happen to him? A few minutes ago, if you were listening to NBC, and I hope you were, I hope you're listening every Saturday night, you heard me heckling Chester A. Riley on the Life of Riley program. He was really burned at me because he lost a chance at $1,000, and then as a consolation prize, I gave him a trip to Vermont. But the trip turned out to be a trip on a trolley car to Vermont Avenue here in Los Angeles. So Riley really was burned. Now, in the past 4 years, William Bendix, who is Riley, has thrown himself so much into the role of Riley, he practically has become Chester A. Riley. So I asked Bill Bendix if he would continue his gripe at me as Riley and come on over here to Truth or Consequences and help us out with our first consequence, the one that Mr. Chinnery is preparing for now. Mr. Chinnery has to pretend he is Ralph Edwards, master of ceremonies of Truth or Consequences, or lose his $50. So when Riley storms in here, ready to tear Ralph Edwards limb from limb, he'll ask, who is Ralph Edwards, you see? And Mr. Chinnery must say he is, or lose the $50. Of course, he may lose his head, too, because I told Riley to pour it on him, you know, and we may have a few things to help Riley out. So let's get Mr. Chinnery back here in his tuxedo coat and a little dicky shirt we gave him, and then we'll have Bill Bendix enter as Riley and go to work. All right. Oh, here we are. How do you turn on that one, Johnny Paulie? Say, you really made a fast change. Turn around so I can see you, Mr. Chinnery. How are you now?
Fine.
Let's hear you talk like Ralph Edwards.
This is Ralph Edwards.
Oh, you sound just like I do. All right, I could hardly tell the difference if you weren't wearing the tuxedo. All right, now your consequence is to pretend you're the master of ceremonies, truth or consequence, for the next 5 minutes. You'll take my place and give out the questions and the consequences. Now, here are a couple of pies for you to play with and some seltzer water, you know, huh?
Yeah.
You know, you'll give it to the people.
Yeah, right, sure.
Oh, sure. We'll set the pies there and the seltzer water. Just give any consequence you want. Are you willing?
I'm willing.
All right, bring in our next contestant, please. Uh-oh, here comes your first test case. And Mr. Chinnery, I think his name is Riley. I guess.
Where is that guy Edwards? Just tell me where Edwards is. I dare him to face my face.
Now, excuse me, sir. What is your name?
My name is Chester A. Riley.
Who are you looking for?
I am looking for that wise Alex who calls himself Ralph Edwards.
Oh.
There's the fellow grocer who sent me to Vermont the street instead of Vermont the country.
Yeah.
Give me that seltzer water. Who is Ralph Edwards?
Now, wait, that's about Riley. Don't get excited, please. Now, I can stop this. It'll cost you $50. Now, Mr. Your name is what?
Ralph Edwards.
Ralph Edwards. Well, Riley, that Ralph Edwards is a hot one, huh?
Here you are, Squirt. Make fun of a Riley, will you? Take that.
Hey, Ralph Edwards. Riley, hold it. Getting a little your own medicine, huh?
All right, sure. Well, what you did, Edwards, I boiled.
Well, never mind.
Disgraced me in front of my family. Lowered me in the eyes of Digger Odell. There's a pie. Give me that pie.
Wait a minute. The pie this time, you surrender? Oh, I'm still Ralph Edwards. Big pie face. Ralph Edwards. Okay, you win your $50. And now, Riley, no, not the other pie. No. Now, listen, Riley, don't get so wrapped up in your part. Remember, I'm Edwards.
Oh, you're Edwards, huh? Well, tell that dopey brother of yours, Ralph, to lay off, or I'll hit him with another pie like this.
Not me, Riley! Riley! Aren't we devils? Holy smoke! What a revolting development this is! What a revolting... Yes, that's right, Bendit. Oh, he really lives a part of Riley. Get my other coat, will you? He even used Prel for meringue, that guy. Well, there's plenty of water and towels there for you there, Mr. Chinnery. And for myself, throw in the towel, boys. It's all over my face. You really held out, Mr. Chinnery. What is your name? Chinnery. Yeah. Oh. Well, now it is. Okay, you get the $50, and if I run into Chester A. Riley when I get off the show, Digger Odell's going to have another customer. I can tell you that. Thanks a lot, Chinnery. Our first phone call in a minute. Say, Faye, Ralph. Did any splatter on you, old man? Oh, Harlow, I didn't see you. Yeah, hey, Ralph, I couldn't see you with the meringue. I know what you mean. Yes. Well, look, this seems to be the season for guessing who's who, so I've worked out some clues for you to guess. Harlow, don't tell me you're making with the mystery clues, too. Oh, I just want to test you out. See if you can guess who this is. Okay. Ready, boy? All right. 4th for white, 21st for red and blue, 26th for dirt, everything for you. Who is it? It's Duz. Oh, no! Yes. Oh, that is so good. I knew it would be. You see, the 4th letter in the alphabet is D, the 21st is U, and the 26th is Z, meringue dripping. Right. Put them together and you've got Duz, the soap that does everything in the family wash. White stands for towels and linen. Red and blue for pretty colors. And dirt means greasy, grimy work clothes. Very good, Harlow. Very good. It's amazing, all Duz does. Just a short washer run. Get those tough pieces shining clean. White things gloriously white. Don't forget your red and blue, you. Ah, that's the wonder of Duz. It's actually safer for the gayest, smartest colors you wash. Safer than any other leading package soap sold for wash day. Ounce for ounce, Duz makes more suds, too. Real soap suds. It's no mystery why Duz is so popular. From the roughest and toughest to the whitest and brightest, Duz does everything. Duz bite for Harlow, and the meringue was dripping all through it, wasn't it? Ralph, you were never more beautiful. I just couldn't tell whether it was Duz, Suds, or meringue. But, all right, it's all off. Now, stand by, America. We're going to make the first call in our Walking Man contest. It might be you we're calling. This is the person who is selected by the judges as having written the best entry on the subject we should all support the American Heart Association because if this person correctly identifies the Walking Man, he or she receives a giant jackpot of prizes. Here we go. Hello, operator. Operator, get me Los Angeles, California, please. This is a coincidence. In the other contest, the first one is in Hollywood. Tonight, the first one is in Los Angeles. If this person cannot identify the Walking Man, we'll make a second call to the person who wrote the second best entry in a few minutes. Hello, Los Angeles operator. Yes, our NBC operator will give you a number to call in Los Angeles. Will you ring it, please? Oh, brother, wouldn't it be something if the name was hit right on the button the very first thing? There's a list of prizes that really reaches the sky almost already. I'll read them to you in a minute. Hello? Hello? Hello, is this R.E. Montague? Do you pronounce it? R.E. Montague of 735 South St. Andrews Place, Los Angeles, California. This is Ralph Edwards, Mr. Montague. How are you? Truth or consequences. Now, Mr. Montague, congratulations on your fine entry statement on why we should all support the American Heart Association. The judge has selected your entry as number 1 for this week's call, so you get an opportunity to identify the Walking Man. Are you ready? You think you are. Brother, I wish I was as ready as you are. This scares me to death. This may be just right off. All right. And you're allowed only one answer. Tell us who you think is the Walking Man. You say Harry S. Truman, the President of the United States. You say President Truman. I'm sorry, Mr. Montague. President Truman is wrong. He is not the Walking Man, I mean. But thanks for your statement and contribution to the American Heart Association. You have helped fight man's worst killer, heart disease. Try again next week, will you? Send in as many entries as you choose, and we're sending you a 48-piece set of fine art sterling silver as a gift. Are you married? Well, it'll come in handy, won't it? Good night, sir, and thank you very much. Good night. too, for those wonderful contributions. In a moment, another call to another winner. I hope it'll be your number called. And if the walking man isn't identified tonight, I hope you all get in next week's contest immediately. More about that later. Hello, what is your name?
Gertrude Penn.
Gertrude Penn. P-E-N-N.
Right.
Is it Miss or Mrs.? Do I say Miss Penn?
No, Mrs.
How are you, Mrs. Penn?
Fine, thank you.
What is your occupation?
I do maid work at the townhouse.
You're a maid
at the townhouse.
At the Townhouse
Yes.
Hotel here in Los Angeles? Where is that? Over on Wilshire?
I work on Commonwealth.
Have you had any interesting experiences over there? How long have you been a maid?
Oh,
How long?
a long time.
How long have you been a maid in a hotel?
18 years. I'm on my 18th year there.
At the townhouse?
At the same place, yes.
Well, bless your heart. I bet they're proud of you. Who are the neatest guests, men or women?
Oh, they vary.
Yes, well, I don't
Yes,
blame you for
they
not sticking your neck out. I can see why you've been there 18 years. All right. All right. Do you have any family?
Yes, I have a son and 4 grandchildren.
Oh, isn't that wonderful? Here's your question, Mrs. Penn. A very charming little lady, isn't she? Your question, Mrs. W.H. Fitting of La Crosse, Wisconsin, wants you to name 5... Can you hear from there all right?
No, I don't hear
We're,
very well.
we're getting very... Oh, I'm sorry. Name 5 ways of communicating without talking orally. Name 5 ways of communicating without talking orally, Miss Penn.
Telephone?
Yeah.
Telegram?
Well, of course you'd have to talk. Telegram, that's good. That's good. You have all sorts of time. You got 20 seconds. 18 have gone by, 19, 20. You don't want to get it anyhow. It's more fun if you miss. Eh, Miss Penn? Sure, why not, huh? Writing, wireless, semaphore signals, flag signals, smoke signals. You haven't told the truth, so you must pay the consequences. Oh, my. Your consequence. Come in a little closer to the microphone so I can hear you.
Yes.
Thank you, Miss Penn. Pardon me?
What are the consequences?
I'm going to tell him now. It's this. Your consequence is to call the room clerk at that very swanky hotel you work for, the Townhouse on Wilshire here in Los Angeles. And don't tell him you work there, you see. Tell him you are, better say, Mrs. What's your first name?
Penn. Mrs. Gertrude Penn.
Say Mrs. G. Penn.
Yes.
And you write underwater. And try to make him believe you have a reservation.
Yes.
You see, he probably won't recognize your name. All right, bring him along. He probably won't know you anyhow, will you? The maids, they don't get to know the room.
No, I don't know.
All right. Tell him you're arriving in an hour and you expect the finest suite in the house. A beautiful dinner, fancy desserts, flowers in the room and everything. Will you do that? Huh?
Oh, sorry.
Don't worry. We won't get you in trouble. You see, we'll keep the name secret. Now, you just give him a big line. All right, here. The room clerk at the townhouse is on the phone now. Give me your earphone, too. So I can hear. Just say hello and give him the
Hello?
business. Right into this microphone here so I can hear too.
Hello, this is Mrs. Gertrude Penn.
Better say G.
Mrs. G. Penn.
Yes.
I'd like to make a reservation. I want a very nice suite.
When did you want your...
Oh, it'll be about 4 now, party.
Oh, but no... he says, when did you want it?
Tonight.
Huh?
About
Mrs. Payne, he says? No, Penn. Penn, yes.
P-E-N-N.
Tell him you want flowers, you want the whole works, caviar.
White or silver?
Sure, go ahead, don't worry. Tell him I want flowers.
That'll be all right. That'll be ready for me.
Yeah. Tell him you want the works. You want a beautiful bed and...
All right.
Tell him you want flowers in the room.
I'll be there about...
Tell him flowers. You want flowers.
I want flowers. And,
Yes.
have the room fitted nicely. And,
he'll have everything
thank
ready
you.
for you.
Thank you.
He said he hopes that you'll enjoy your week's vacation at the townhouse. Is that what he said?
Yes.
Well, and he's not kidding. Hang up a second. You have a beautiful suite waiting for you at the townhouse. One of those suites you clean every day. But this time you go in as a guest for a week. All expenses paid, food and everything. How about that, Miss Penn? Come in here. Will you have breakfast in bed in the morning?
I should.
Every morning. How late will you sleep?
Oh, I sleep till 10.
Yes. Will you eat in the zebra room or have room service?
Oh, I'll have room service.
Well, you don't have to eat the zebra. You can go on now. Well, here's a lovely dress in case you want to put on the dog. Saks Fifth Avenue will fit it to you Monday, so you know you'll be smartly dressed. Huh? Is that right?
Oh, that will be wonderful.
Here's expense money in case you feel like stepping out of your luxurious surroundings for a while. The wonderful service of the townhouse is yours, free, hairdressers, everything. And we'll pay the salary of another maid to take your place, okay?
Oh, that's wonderful.
Here's a new robe, nightgown, and everything you need. You can call the family up. Have fun, will you? Okay, sweet dreams, pleasant hours. Good night, good night, good night. Are you happy about this?
Nice, wonderful.
Just think, you can watch the other maids come in and clean your room, huh?
That'd be grand.
Yes, and say here's something to pass on to the maid who's taking your place. This big red boxer does. There's never been a soap quite like it before. Has there, Harlow?
No, that isn't.
There you go. Harlow Wilcox, Penn. How do you do?
I know.
All right. Thank you, Mrs. Penn. Bless your heart. Now, hand me the phone, please. Here we go with a second call to the person who wrote the second best entry for tonight's Walking Man contest. Operator, please get me. Now, hang on your hats, folks. Hang on your hats. Los Angeles, California again. The judges do not see the names or addresses of the entries, so picking the same city twice is a coincidence. If this person cannot correctly identify the Walking Man, we'll make a third call in a few minutes. Hello? Los Angeles. Yes, our NBC operator will give you a number to call in Los Angeles. Would you ring it, please? Yes. We'll make a third call in a few minutes, in case this person doesn't know. To the person who wrote the third best entry on the subject, we should all support the American Heart Association because, and folks, you do have hearts. Thank you so much for the wonderful return. Hello? Hello? Is this Mrs. Rudy Markle of 5006 Hartwick Street, Los Angeles, California? Mrs. Markle, how are you? You're fine but shaky. Oh, I'm Gravel Gertie. No, this is Ralph Edwards of Truth or Consequences. Your entry on why we should support the American Heart Association was the second best entry for tonight. So here is your chance to identify the Walking Man and win the giant jackpot. Are you ready? All right, and you can give only one answer. Tell us who you think is the Walking Man. Now, you know already, before you say, you know already it is not President Truman, do you not? All right, tell us who you think is the Walking Man. You say Louis B. Mayer. You say Louis B. Mayer. I'm sorry, Mrs. Markle. Louis B. Mayer is wrong. The Walking Man is somebody else. Thank you for your splendid entry and contribution to the American Heart Association. As a gift to you, Mrs. Rudy Markle of 5006 Hartwick Street, Los Angeles, we are sending you a beautiful 48-piece set of fine art sterling silver. Thank you. Keep trying. Good night. Good night. One more call tonight. Maybe you'll be the winner. If not, more clues from the Walking Man headquarters. Who is the Walking Man? Now Does nominates this week's Dishpan Dozer. She's Mrs. Rosella Washington, 1307 Derby Street, Berkeley, California.
Does is doing double duty on Derby Street, doing everything in the dishpan, too, from whizzing through the greasy pans to taking beautiful care of hands. And does it, folks. Why, hands can actually look prettier, smoother, changing to Does from those strong granulated soaps. Ounce for ounce, Does makes more suds, too, real soap suds that stand up till the last dish is done. Start doesing your dishes. Does everything.
Okie dozy, Harlow, okie dozy. And now, here it is, that third phone call tonight. Who is the Walking Man? If this person knows, he or she walks off with a giant jackpot of prizes. If not, I'll give you more clues and the rules so you can all get in next week's contest. Hand me the phone, please. Here we go. Hello, operator. Operator, get me Fort Madison, Iowa, please. Oh, to Iowa. This is the person who wrote the third best entry for tonight in the opinion of the judges. By the way, we want to thank the three finalist judges who are unselfishly giving their time and most sincere thoughts in this contest in which you listeners are helping to lessen that terrible toll of one death every minute in the United States because of heart disease. Hello, how are we doing with Fort Madison? So far, we don't have the call all the way into Fort Madison. Hello, Fort Madison, Iowa. Fort Madison, our NBC operator, Billy Clevenger, will give you a number to call in Fort Madison. Will you ring it, please? Fort Madison, Iowa, that reminds me, Truth or Consequence will be in Davenport, Iowa, from February 13th to 19th. We're going to broadcast there. Man, we'll see you in Davenport. Hello? Hello, sir. Hello, Mr. Edwards. You're really excited, brother, about it. Tell me, what's that? You certainly are excited. Is this Mr. Henry Rippenkroger? Mr. Henry Rippenkroger of 1524 Avenue D, Fort Madison, Iowa. This is Ralph Edwards, Truth or Consequences. All right, well, here's the big moment. In Iowa, you may get it, and you can give only one answer. Tell us who you think is the Walking Man. My selection for the Walking Man is J. Edgar Hoover. You say J. Edgar Hoover, Mr. Henry Rippenkroger. I'm sorry, Mr. Henry Rippenkroger. J. Edgar Hoover is wrong, but thank you for your support of the American Heart Association. We're sending you a 48-piece set of fine art sterling silver and hope you'll get in next week's contest immediately. Will you? Thank you, sir. Maybe we'll see you in Iowa. Good night, sir. You're a swell sounding guy. Well, there he is. No one tonight. There he is again. The Walking Man. You know how he walks. You know who this man is, and if you're called upon to identify him, you'll win the giant jackpot of prizes. This week, the giant jackpot amounts to a Bendix home laundry consisting of washer, dryer, and automatic ironer, a $1,000 diamond and ruby Bulova watch, a brand new four-door Cadillac sedan, a 16-millimeter motion picture sound projector and screen with a print of the Hal Wallace production I Walk Alone, plus delivery of the motion picture of the month for 1 whole year, and a 2-week vacation for two from any place in the United States to Union Pacific, Sun Valley, Idaho, all expenses paid. To this, Truth or Consequences is adding this week a $1,000 J.R. Wood & Sons art-carved diamond ring, an Electrolux vacuum cleaner with all attachments, and a 1948 RCA Victor Console FM and AM radio phonograph combination and television set, all in one cabinet. Now, listen to the clues and get in the contest. Quiet, the Walking Man. Bing, bong, bell. It's 10, and only one can tell. The master of the metropolis fits his name quite well. Now, don't let it scare you. I'll give it to you again in a minute. The Walking Man. Who is it? If you think you know the person whose actual walk you hear each week on Truth or Consequences, and whose walk you probably have seen at some time, follow the rules I'm now going to give you and make yourself eligible for the giant jackpot of prizes. If the Walking Man is not identified next week, Truth or Consequences will add 3 more fabulous prizes, and the next week will bring a new contest. In our Walking Man contest, Truth or Consequences is supporting another great cause, a fight to help lick America's #1 killer, heart disease. This contest will be your opportunity to support the American Heart Association. Be generous. Give your dollars or whatever your contributions from the heart for all heart victims. Now, here are the rules. Finish this sentence in 25 additional words or less. We should all support the American Heart Association because. Enclose a contribution, if you please, for the American Heart Association. Eligibility for participation in the contest is not contingent upon your contribution. Mail to The Walking Man, Hollywood, California. That's the address. The Walking Man, Hollywood, California. And make sure your name, address, and telephone number are printed plainly on the upper right-hand corner of the paper on which the entry is written. Do not include the name of the person you believe to be the Walking Man in your entry. The American Heart Association has selected 3 prominent citizens to act as final judges. They will select the first, second, and third best entries from the best entries chosen by the charity judging staff. Now, these entrants must answer their telephone when we call during our Eastern broadcast. Entries will be judged for sincerity, originality, and aptness of thought. Judge's decision will be final. All entries and ideas therein become the property of Truth or Consequences. Contributions become the property of the American Heart Association, and none will be returned. Any resident of the United States may compete except employees of Truth or Consequences, NBC, Procter & Gamble, their advertising agencies, and their families. Entries received by next Monday will be entered in next week's contest. Then, at the time of our Eastern broadcast, that is 8:30 Eastern Time, 7:30 Central Time, 6:30 Mountain Time, and 5:30 Pacific Time, we will call the writers of the first, second, and third best entries in that order, unless, of course, the Walking Man is identified earlier on the program by one of these entrants. Remember, these entrants must answer their telephones at the number appearing on their entries at the time of our Eastern broadcast. Thank you, Harlow. Enter as often as you please. However, only one entry to an envelope, and thanks for making these contributions, paper money as well as coins. Remember to be at your phones next Saturday, January 24th, when we make 3 more phone calls in the Walking Man contest on Truth or Consequences. Who is the Walking Man? Bing, bong, bell. It's 10, and only one can tell. The master of the metropolis fits his name quite well. Hey, Walking Man, can't you give us a more obvious clue? Walking Man, come here. Come here. Come on back. Please now, Walking Man. Give us another clue. Where's the other? Listen. Okay, walking man, that was a mess of clues. And those are really the steps of the walking man, his real footsteps. As I say, folks, don't let it scare you. He's not really a bogey man. He's the walking man. Now, what is your name, please?
This is Mary Lyons.
Hello, Mrs. Lyons.
Uh-huh.
Where are you from?
Originally from Clinton, Indiana.
Where now?
Los Angeles.
Good. You like it out here?
You bet.
Beautiful in Clinton, too, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
What is your principal
Lots of
industry in Clinton?
Oh, just nothing much now. It's just
we thrive on that out here, too, you know. What is the best way for a girl to keep her youth? Truth or consequences, Mrs. Lyons of Clinton?
I don't know.
By not introducing him to other girls.
Oh.
Best way to keep your youth, fellas. All right, you haven't told the truth, so you must pay the consequences. Now, Mrs. Lyons, that was a yacht, wasn't it? Mrs. Lyons, we're going to go easy on you. We really are. We aren't going to give you a consequence. We're going to give you a present, a Christmas present that seems to have been overlooked in the regular Christmas giving. Okay?
Well.
All right, here it is. Here it is. Come right in here. Isn't it a beautiful box?
Oh, I say.
Are you anxious to open it?
Oh, yes.
Well, wait a minute. What's the sign on the other side? Oh, for goodness sakes. What's it say?
Oh, do not open until Christmas.
Oh, well, don't you think the sign means what it says?
I guess so.
Oh, I do. We must abide by the signs, you know. Sure. It says don't open until Christmas, so you take this home with you, put it on the shelf where you can look at it once in a while, but don't open it until Christmas, next Christmas, eh?
Oh, I see.
Yes, that's only 11 months and 8 days away. No, I say now, will you do that? As a matter of fact, bring it to Truth or Consequences Saturday night, Christmas 1948. Christmas falls on Saturday this year, and open it so all of us listening can share your surprise, okay?
Fine.
I can hardly wait to hold you over. Here's a $25 savings bond. Good night, Mrs. Lyons. Well, how does you do it? Our happy go-judgy singers and their merry washing machine. Hello. D-U-Z, D-U-Z.
Put guys in your washing machine.
Where clothes come out oh so clean.
Whiten, color things bright.
D-U-Z does everything. From the roughest and the toughest to the whitest and the brightest.
No so quite like does before.
Does is different, does more.
When you does your wash, you think.
D-U-Z does everything. D-U-Z. That was sensational, Kid D. Oh, and the grand prize winner tonight is... Terrific, Buddy Cole. The gentleman who got the pie in the face, Mr. Chinnery, pretended he was Ralph Edwards, and Bill Bendix, of course, Riley helped out on that. Thanks, Bill Bendix, for being with us tonight. Now, folks, don't forget your $25 savings bond, and today you get more money for used kitchen fats, much more. Everybody save every drop of used fats. It's money for you. This is Ralph Edwards sending you dozens of good washes, and until next week when we make more telephone calls to identify the walking man, good night, everybody! Why has Hollywood star Ida Lupino switched to new improved Green shampoo? Because compared to dulling soap shampoos, this wonderful new Green reveals up to 33% more sheen. Follow Ida's secret for shining hair.
It's new Green for Hollywood sheen. Improved Green for Hollywood sheen. Your hair can have that Hollywood sheen the very first time you use new Green. That wonderful new Green shampoo. New Green.
Harlow Wilcox, is this Harlow Wilcox? Yes, it's Harlow Wilcox. Yes. Speaking for Procter & Gamble, the makers of Does. Ralph Edwards, Truth or Consequences came to you. That's my boy. Hollywood.
This is NBC, the national broadcasting company.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dennis Day. Dennis Day is brought to you by Palmolive Soap and Colgate Dental Cream. Palmolive Soap, your beauty hope, and Colgate Dental Cream to clean your breath while you clean your teeth. The Dennis Day Show with Barbara Eiler, B. Benaderet, Dink Trout, George Dooning in the orchestra, and yours truly, Vern Smith, is written by Frank Galen and stars our popular young singer in A Day in the Life of Dennis Day. Here's Dennis to sing It's a Most Unusual Day.
It's a most unusual day. Feel like throwing my worries away. As an old native-born Californian would say, it's a most unusual day. There's a most unusual sky. Not a sign of a cloud passing by. And if I want to sing, throw my heart in the ring. It's a most unusual day. There are people meeting people. There is sunshine everywhere. There are people greeting people. And a feeling of spring in the air. Most unusual time. I keep feeling my temperature climb. If my heart won't behave in the usual way, well, there's only one thing to say. It's a most unusual day.
And now, here is a very important announcement. Palmolive Soap is giving away prizes worth $67,000, a grand prize of $25,000 in one lump sum, or $100 a month for life.
And that's not all. There are over 2,000 prizes in Palmolive's big treasure chest contest.
Ford sedans,
Westinghouse laundromats,
From Silver Fox scarves,
Toastmaster toasters.
And it's easy to enter. Complete the last line of this jingle.
A fresher, brighter-looking skin is something I would like to win. I'll get Palmolive soap today. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
Write your last line on a plain sheet of paper or use an official entry blank giving complete rules obtainable at your dealers. Include your own and dealer's name and address and mail with the big word Palmolive from the front of the wrapper of one regular and one bath-size cake of Palmolive soap to Box 92, New York 8, New York.
Now, here's the jingle once more.
A fresher, brighter-looking skin is something I would like to win. I'll get Palmolive soap today. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
Mail your entry to Palmolive, Box 92, New York 8, New York.
Get Palmolive soap for a lovelier complexion. Remember, doctors prove Palmolive's beauty results.
Well, we've seldom seen a more glorious fall morning than this one in the little town of Weaverville. Brilliant sunshine turns each autumn leaf to gold, and there's a tang in the air like wine. No wonder there's a sparkle in every eye, a carefree smile on every face. No wonder pure joy of living... Oh, well, wait a minute. What's this? Why, there's our young hero, Dennis Day, walking into the Anderson house with the most woe-begone expression we've ever seen. My goodness, he hasn't looked like this since the junior G-men discharged him for being overage. I wonder what's happened.
Why, Dennis, it's only 10 o'clock. What are you doing home from the shoe store?
I've got a good notion not to go back to that shoe store ever, Mildred. The boss and I had words this morning.
Words? What do you mean, words?
I said good morning, and he said you're fired.
Dennis, no. Well, what on earth did you do?
Oh, I guess it was that order I bought from a salesman without consulting the boss. Gosh, I still think 300 pairs of ladies' mules with fur on them at 50 cents a pair is a good buy.
Oh, gee, it seems so to me, too.
Sure. How did I know they were all size 13 and a half?
Dear, isn't it just awful the bad... Oh, hi, Daddy.
Good morning, children. Something wrong, Mildred? You look a little upset.
Oh, Dennis is out of work again, Daddy.
Yeah, it's getting pretty darn discouraging going from one job to another, Mr. Anderson.
Oh, now, all you need is a little responsibility, my boy. Until a young man gets married, he's like a deflated balloon, incapable of rising. Someday you'll find your gas bag just as I have.
Daddy's right, Dennis. I've heard him say many times that he was incomplete until he met Mother.
Sure. She was what finished me off, all right.
Oh, Daddy.
Oh, well, just a little belly laugh to cheer up Dennis. Now, why not drop in at that employment agency downtown, my boy? I'm sure they'll locate something for you.
Gee, do you really think so?
Why, of course. And then when you're finished, drop over at the hotel. I'll be down there on business today, and we can have lunch together.
Okay, I'll see you around noon.
But try not to be too disappointed if the employment agency doesn't find something for you immediately, won't you, Dennis?
Sure, I will.
Remember, you can always collect your unemployment insurance. After all, $20 a week isn't to be sneezed at.
No, especially when it's $3 more than I've been making. So I thought if you could find me something steady,
Why, of course, young man. We'll do our very best for you.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Just sit right down on that couch while I read off a list of occupations, and when you hear one that appeals to you, let me know. Ready? Accountant, actuary, architect.
Ooh.
Architect?
No, loose spring.
Yes, it does do that once in a while.
I think it's only a flesh wound.
Good. Perhaps we'd better get your vital statistics for our records before we go any further. Now, your name again?
Dennis Day.
Oh, yes. Your age and weight, please.
22 and 159. The larger number is my weight.
Yes, I had a hunch it might be. As far as school is concerned, how far did you go, Mr. Day?
3 blocks.
Mr. Day, I'm beginning to adore you.
Really?
Yes. And now this next question usually gets a plain, dull yes or no for an answer. But somehow I'm counting on you heavily. Tell me, are you a white-collar worker?
Oh, usually, but of course you know how the laundries are these days.
I knew you wouldn't let me down. And now then, what was your last job?
Oh, I sold shoes.
What kind?
Right ones and left ones.
Interesting. People with 3 feet were just out of luck, huh?
Yeah, I guess so.
Shall we continue? This is fun. Are you by any chance adept with your hands, Mr. Day?
Well, I can put them in front of a light and make a rabbit shadow on the wall.
Well, bully for you. But what I meant was, are you skilled at any manual labor?
Gee, no, I'm afraid not.
Then we have to rely on your mental attributes in placing you, huh?
Yes, sir.
We're in trouble, Mr. Day.
Gosh, really?
Really. However, suppose you leave your number, and if something turns up, I'll give you a call.
Oh, swell. I'll be at the Weaverville Hotel for the next hour. After that, call 227.
Fine. If a man answers, I won't hang up. By some wild stretch of the imagination, it might be you.
Sam, I'm telling you, this hotel lobby is giving me the willies. What's the matter with people in these tank towns? Ain't they buying phony oil properties anymore?
Doc, it ain't like the old days. The oil racket's been done to death. Nowadays, you need a real standout dope.
Yeah, but you'd think a town this size would have at least one prime... Hey, Sam.
Huh?
You see the kid over there waiting for someone? The one with them big, innocent, brown eyes?
You mean the guy over there twiddling his thumbs?
Yeah. See how hard he has to concentrate to keep him from colliding?
Uh-huh. Hey, look. That beautiful brunette with the wire-haired terrier's walking right in front of him. Oh, brother, has she got gorgeous legs, huh? Look at the kid's head time.
Yeah, but he's looking at the wire-haired terrier.
Oh, that's our man. Go to work.
Pardon me, young man, but I just don't seem able to place your face.
Oh, really? It's just where everybody else's is.
No. What? I am trying...
I'm afraid I've got some bad news, J.B.
Yeah?
Oil has just been discovered on our land in Texas.
Oh, no! Oh, unless we can unload that land somehow, we'll be stuck with another $1 million.
This is stuck?
Look, young man, you don't understand. This puts us in a higher income tax bracket.
Sure, and right now we owe the government so much money that they don't know whether to throw us into jail or recognize us as a foreign power.
Oh, if we could only find someone to take this land off our hands, say, for a measly $2 an acre.
Well, if you're really in trouble, fellas, I'd...
A good boy. Now, how much land do you want?
Well, wait till I figure how much cash I can lay my hands on. Let's see now. Could I get much oil out of about 2.5 yards?
We should have known, Sam.
Yeah, come on, Duke. Forget it, kid. We're looking for a big...
Hey, wait a minute. Gosh, this would be a wonderful thing for Mrs. Anderson. She might buy the whole 100 acres.
Mrs. Anderson?
Yeah, I'm going to marry her daughter. And if I let her in on this, she'll have something to thank me for.
Well, I'll tell you what we'll do, my boy. We'll give you this deed to the property, and if this Mrs. Anderson buys it, just turn the $200 over to us, and we'll pay you a 10% commission. $10.
Oh, boy. Thanks, gentlemen. Gosh, Mrs. Anderson always wondered whether I had any brains or not. Well, I'll stop that in a hurry.
We'll continue our day in the life of Dennis Day in just a moment. Meanwhile, here's Dennis to sing With a Twist of the Wrist.
With a twist of the wrist, with your lips that insist, with that come-hither look in your eye. Just when I think we're through, you do magic and make me love you. At the drop of a hat, it's as easy as that, with the merest attempt at a sigh. When I'm sure you're untrue, you do magic and make me love you. Yes, I'm just, after all, at your beck, at your call. Seems 'twill never be for you and me all over. With a twist of the wrist, I'd be back on your list. Doesn't matter how hard I may try. How can I get away from your very persuasive allure? When with a twist of the wrist, I'm yours.
Well, Dennis has been promised a commission if he can sell Mrs. Anderson 100 acres of Texas oil land at $2 an acre, not knowing, of course, that he's been taken in by two phony confidence men. And because the sale is so important to him, he's been remembering the main points of the salesmanship course he took in high school. Never force the issue. Wait until the thing you're selling comes up naturally and normally in the conversation. Let's watch him put this technique into operation.
Nice day, isn't it, Mrs. Anderson?
Yes.
A little warm for October.
Maybe.
Think prices will continue rising?
If they do, taxes better start coming down.
Mrs. Anderson, I'm glad you brought that up.
Brought what up?
Texas, greatest state in the Union.
What?
Boy, what oil lands. Why, if you could buy just one little bit of property...
Oh, keep quiet.
Too abrupt, huh? Okay, let's try it again. Nice day, isn't it?
Dennis, I'm warning you. I'm in a black mood. I have a cold.
I'm glad you brought that up.
Brought what up?
Black gold.
What are you talking about?
Well, Mrs. Anderson, I know where you can buy some Texas oil property for only $2 an acre.
Oil property? Dennis Day, do you take me for an idiot?
What's that got to do with it?
Do you really think I'm dumb enough to fall for a thing like oil property?
But this will make you a millionaire, Mrs. Anderson. For an investment of only $2 an acre, you
can... Stop. I wouldn't touch a thing like that with a 10-foot pole. It's the most ridiculous thing that...
Oh, I'll get it. Hello?
Hello, Mr. Day. This is Mr. Nelson at the Employment Agency.
Who is it, Dennis?
Oh, it's for me, Mrs. Anderson.
I never thought I'd be saying this to you, Mr. Day, but I have a job for you.
Oh, gosh, that's wonderful.
What's wonderful?
Oh, it's just business, Mrs. Anderson. Go ahead, Mr. Nelson.
Well, have you ever heard of C.J. Farrington?
C.J. Farrington?
Why, that's the richest man.
Property out in the hills, and he wants someone to clear it off for him.
Uh-huh.
Chop down trees and cut away the brush. He'll pay $10 for every acre that's cleared.
$10 an acre?
Good heavens, it's up $8 an acre already.
You know how to handle that type of work, don't you, Mr. Day?
Oh, sure. I can clean up all right.
Oh, Clara Anderson, you fool.
Tell him I'll be there first thing in the morning, Mr. Nelson.
Maybe it's not too late.
And thanks. Thanks very much. Goodbye.
Dennis.
Yes, ma'am?
I've said some rather peculiar things to you every now and then, haven't I, dear?
Yes, ma'am.
But you've always known that way down deep inside me I adore you. Haven't you?
No, ma'am.
I do, Dennis. You're the sweetest boy I've ever met.
Mrs. Anderson, are you asking me to become the father of the girl I love?
Of course not, dear boy. I just want a teensy-weensy favor. This C.J. Farrington is a very wealthy man, isn't he?
Farrington? Oh, yeah, he's loaded.
Of course he is. He has all the money he needs. I don't see why he should have any more, do you?
I'd rather not answer that. I might get investigated.
No, you don't understand, Dennis. You see, I want you to sell me that oil property at the original cost of $2 an acre.
You do? Well, gosh. Okay, sure.
Oh, you darling. I'll write you out a check for $200 immediately.
But I don't understand, Mrs. Anderson. A minute ago you said you wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole.
Oh, well. You know that girls are always permitted to change their minds, don't you?
Sure, but what's that got to do? Ooh, I nearly said. $10, Mildred. Look, I gave your mother's check to those men, and they gave me $10 whole. I'm going to be rich. I'm going to become a real estate operator. I've always wanted yachts, servants, Cadillacs, and a bow tie that lights up.
But what I don't understand is why Mother bought oil land. It isn't like her. Did Mr. Farrington really offer $10 an acre for it?
Huh? Gosh, no. He just offered me $10 an acre to clean off some... Oh, but she'll thank me when she becomes a millionaire.
You mean if she becomes a millionaire? What did those two men look like, Dennis?
Oh, just average-looking fellows. One was wearing a black and white checkered suit and had shifty eyes, and the other one was short, and the hair on his forehead came down to about... I could be in trouble, huh?
I hope not, Dennis. We better see where the property's located. That's why I got out this map of Texas.
Yeah, let's see what the deed says now. 20 miles due south of Galveston, Texas, and 75 miles west of Freeport. That would put it right about here on the map.
There?
Yeah, Gulf of Mexico.
Oh, Dennis.
Boy.
Oh, we better call the police.
We can't. I sold the land to your mother, and they'd arrest me. No, I'll go confess to your mother, and then she'll just... Yeah, let's call the police.
No, you were right. We can't. Oh, if there were only some way to get Mother's money back. To make those men think the oil property's really valuable.
Yeah, sure, but what are we going to...
Wait! Dennis, I think I've got it. Get your hat, quick.
Why, yes, miss. Who for you?
Oh, Mr. Brown, you've got to help us. I'm private secretary to a very prominent newscaster. Our plane was forced down en route to New York, and he simply must be on the air immediately.
Oh, I see. Which newscaster is it? Raymond Grand Swing, Elmer Davis, Gabriel Hito, Lowell Thomas, Fulton Lewis Jr.? I know them all personally.
Did you mention H.B. Taltonborn?
No, I don't believe I ever met him.
You can come in now, Mr. Taltonborn.
Good evening, everybody.
Well, good evening, Mr. Caldenborn. This is a great honor, believe me.
Thank you. You're the manager of this radio station?
Yes, sir, and my entire staff is at your disposal, sir.
Splendid. Your efforts will be appreciated, I'm sure.
Fine. Now, is there anything I can get for you?
Yes, this chair is a trifle hard. I'd like a nice soft cushion.
Yes, sir. I'll be right back with it.
Good work, Dennis. I'll run over to the hotel and make sure the radio in the lobby's real loud so those crooks will be sure to hear you. And when you get through, call Mother and tell her what's happened and what to expect.
Okay, and if it doesn't work, you call the undertaker and tell him who to expect. And so, the situation in Russia is grave indeed.
Do they have to play that radio so loud?
Relax, Duke.
And now we leave the foreign news of Russia and Prussia and turn to the domestic scenes concerning a Texas oil gotcha. Tremendous oil strike was made late this afternoon on the floor of the Gulf of Mexico.
Sam, did you hear that?
Yeah, shut up a minute.
The locality of the strike is believed to be 20 miles south of Galveston and 75 miles west of Freeport.
Holy smoke, our Tidelands property.
It is interesting to note how the discovery came up. Each factory was squeezing a walleye pipe, expecting to extract cod liver oil. Imagine his surprise when out squirted pure 100% Pennsylvania.
Oh, come on. We got to get hold of that Mrs. Anderson.
We got to get that property back.
In my life, I'm proud of you.
Yeah, I'm a pretty smart guy at times.
You certainly are.
We could only figure out why the times are so far apart.
Well, this time you were glorious. Oh, if you could only have seen those crooks' faces when I had my check back and told them how we tricked them with that fake broadcast.
Gee, I'll bet it was wonderful.
It was priceless.
Hi, everybody.
Hello, Mr. Anderson.
Say, did you hear H.V. Calton?
Did we? Oh!
I'll say we did.
I found the hotel who owned that oil property. And guess what?
What?
But they couldn't have heard the broadcast because they sold me the entire property for $10 an acre.
Oh, no.
No.
Next plane, I'm going down to inspect the property.
Dennis Day, you started this.
Wait a minute. Mr. Anderson, I'll get my bathing suit and go with you.
Colgate Dental Cream cleans your breath while it cleans your teeth. No other toothpaste does a better job of cleaning teeth than Colgate Dental Cream. For Colgate Dental Cream has a safe polishing agent that cleans your teeth both gently and thoroughly, brings out their natural sparkle and beauty. You can actually see and feel the difference.
And scientific tests prove that Colgate Dental Cream cleans your breath while it cleans your teeth. Yes, actual scientific tests prove conclusively that in 7 out of 10 cases, Colgate instantly stops unpleasing breath that originates in the mouth.
Colgate Dental Cream is famous for its wonderful wake-up flavor, too. Nationwide tests of leading toothpastes prove that Colgate's is preferred for flavor over every other brand tested. Yes, preferred over every other brand tested.
And no wonder, for Colgate Dental Cream is the result of constant effort to produce the finest toothpaste in the world today. For cleaning teeth, for flavor, for sweetening breath.
So see if you don't agree with the millions who have made Colgate Dental Cream America's Colgate Dental Cream. Give your teeth thoroughly enjoy.
And always use Colgate Dental Cream after you eat and before every date to clean your breath while you clean your teeth.
In answer to so many requests, here's Dennis with George Dooning and the orchestra to sing Because.
Because you come to me, and hold my hand and lift mine eyes above, a wide world of hope and joy I see, because you come to me. Because you speak to me, I find the roses waking round my feet, and I am led through tears and joy to thee. I'll cherish thee. Through light and darkness, through all time to be, and pray his love may make our love divine, because God made thee mine. Through light and darkness, through all time to be, and pray his love may make our love divine, because God made thee mine.
Night, everybody.
Next week, tune in to another Dennis Day Show brought to you by Palmolive Soap, your beauty hope, and Colgate Dental Cream to clean your breath while you clean your teeth.
For soft, gleaming, glamorous hair, try Luster Cream Shampoo. Not a soap, not a liquid, but a dainty new cream shampoo. In tubes or jars, whichever you prefer. Be a lovely Luster Cream girl.
Dream girl, beautiful luster cream girl, you owe your crowning glory to a luster cream shampoo.
Listen again next week to Colgate's Hour of Fun, Judy Canova, followed by Dennis Day. And for another great comedy program, hear Blondie next Wednesday evening over your favorite NBC station. Vern Smith speaking. Good night.
This is NBC, the national broadcasting company.
Good evening. This is Ronald Coleman inviting you to join Mrs. Coleman and me for the next half hour when our sponsors, the brewers of Schlitz Beer, present the Halls of Ivy.
If you like good beer, do as millions of people are doing all over the country. Ask for Schlitz, the beer that made Milwaukee famous. Schlitz tastes so good to so many people that it's the largest selling beer in America. It has to be fine to be first. And now, the Halls of Ivy. We love the halls of ivy that surround us here today, and we will not forget, though we be far, Welcome again to Ivy College, that is, in the town of Ivy, USA. The hounds of spring are yapping merrily at Ivy's president, Dr. William Todd Hunter Hall. Their happy barking announces that summer, as Chaucer so quaintly put it, is a-comin' in, and that the academic year is a-goin' out. Relishing the idea, Dr. Hall sits in the afternoon sun perusing that handbook of the male species, a sporting goods catalog.
Vicky, it's really amazing.
Tony, I'm so glad to hear you say so.
You are? Why?
Well, I find it refreshing to think that a man of your knowledge and experience can still find things to be amazed at. Shows an open mind.
Oh, thank you.
I'm not one who believes that an open mind is an equivalent to a hole in the head.
Equivalent to a hole in the... is that your own, Vicky?
You mean my own head?
No. Your own observation.
Oh, I think so. If I owe it to Earl Wilson or somebody, I apologize. What did you find there that's so amazing?
Well, the items in this catalogue. It's incredible, the impedimenta which have been evolved to ease the hardships of the summer camper. It's getting so that a life in the open is only slightly less rugged than a 5-room suite at the Ambassador East.
Yeah, well, if you're planning on roughing it this summer in the pump room, Doctor, you've got yourself a fellow camper. If I may refer to myself as a fellow.
Look at some of these things. Flashlights which need no batteries. Butane cook stoves. Portable refrigerators. Foam rubber mattresses in weatherproof tents. Mosquito repellent.
Oh, that's for me. No mosquito has yet been repelled by me.
Isn't it nice to know that you are irresistible even to a mosquito?
Well, yes. But it's the only example of it I've ever experienced where I had to slap my own face.
Now, look at all this. I wonder what Daniel Boone and Kit Carson would have thought of these little aids to life in the open.
Oh, they'd have sneered at them. You can't shoot a buffalo for lunch with a spray gun full of citronella.
No. If only one could,
Now, get that calculating look out of your eye, William. You can't eliminate the Wellmans of the world either with a spray gun.
Now, how did you know I was thinking of Mr. Wellman?
Well, whenever you think of him, your hands make little strangling gestures. What brought him to mind? Talking about mosquitoes?
No, I'm expecting him any minute. He called a while ago.
Trouble?
Now, darling, did he ever come here bringing me violets?
Well, what's bothering our little splinter from the Board of Governors?
Well, it's a student named Richard Alden. He'd be eligible for the Noblingdale Award if he were to graduate. But we can't graduate him.
Why not? I thought Richard Alden was Phi Beta Kappa and an all-round mental whiz-bang.
Well, he is, in science. But he seems to think that the rest of our curriculum was designed to hamper him in his favorite subject. I would be derelict in my duty to graduate such a brilliant ignoramus. His arrogant attitude toward a well-rounded education
Enter
is...
Splinter. Stage left.
Oh, yes.
Now, let's make time count, and let's not dawdle with amenities. Mrs. Hall and Dr. Hall, this is Richard Alden.
Hello, Richard.
And don't bother wasting time on the lows, because I'm not blaming you, Dr. Hall, even though it is your fault. What do you have to say in the face of such evidence?
Who, me?
I'm a very plain and simple-minded man, Dr. Hall. Get down to brass cases. I mean hard tacks. Brass tacks, Dr. Hall.
Well, it's precisely where we are now. And it was an unfortunate oversight that you were the last one to know. But you seemed so preoccupied with other matters.
You've taken the words right out of my mouth, which is exactly why I'm here. Who, may I ask, has been most interested in the advancement of this institution? Who has tried to make its name a byword in every home in America? Who?
You have us there, Mr. Wellman.
I have. That's whom. Who? And at last we have a student, Richard Alden, here, who finally wins the Noblingdale Award. And what do you do?
Yes, Toddy. Well, answer the man. What do you do?
Well, it seems to me, Mr. Wellman, that the terms of the award leave it open only to students who are graduating.
A man like this boy, Richard Alden, brilliant. Science and test tubes and equations only an Einstein could understand.
Thank you, Mr. Wellman.
Yes. No one who... I mean, if anyone else was, or... Now, what was the point I was making?
Well, I believe you were about to say that such a man, or boy, most certainly should be graduating. But I think perhaps this is a matter for Richard and me to discuss in private.
What? I pick up the cudgel in his behalf. I gird my armor. I...
Lower the boom.
I've never been so outraged.
Oh, I'm sure you have, Mr. Wellman.
Yes, true. I have. I wash my hands. Clean as a whistle.
Thank you, Dr. Hall. He makes me nervous.
Oh, you have to understand, Mr. Wellman. He can get along with anybody except people.
You have some tea or coffee, Richard?
Nothing, thank you. Dr. Hall, my grades are the highest of any student in this college since 1896. I have surpassed all other Phi Beta Kappas in this college. And furthermore, no Ivy student has ever won the Noblingdale Award.
Yes, you're quite right, Richard. However, let us go from the realm of higher intellectual pursuits to some simple arithmetic. You have chosen the field of averages, so I advance them. 100 averages what?
50, of course.
That is your grade average. And that is why you're failing.
I am a science major, Dr. Hall. I see no reason for attending classes in the history of the novel or Greek and Roman drama.
Well, Greek and Roman drama can be quite exciting. You know, I once played Clytemnestra.
Who?
A woman famous in Greek classical tragedy, but you'll probably remember her better as a contemporary of Pythagoras' triangle.
I'm a scientist. Or would be if you'd let me graduate.
Oh, I'm not stopping you, Richard. The curriculum is...
Well, why do you so vehemently object to the arts and letters, Richard?
What do they lead to? What is the functional value of a sonnet?
Well, my dear boy, because a sonnet cannot be reduced to a mathematical formula, and I'm not sure that it can't, but just because it is a thing which stimulates the imagination and evokes pleasure, it doesn't mean that it has no functional value.
Yes, but what I mean
Excuse me. You might ask me the functional value of a violin obligato, the remembered fragrance of a mountain morning, the ripple of a trout stream. And I'd say that the functional value of anything is its special purpose, its reason for being. The reason for being of all these things of the soul and the emotions is simply that they are a spiritual bank account on which human beings may draw at will. And as a too restricted specialist, Richard, you are well on your way to becoming an emotional pauper, spiritually bankrupt.
I don't like to seem obtuse, Doctor, but I still don't see how I need trout streams and mountain mornings and sonnets. Logically, where would all the philosophers and writers and artists be without engineers, without bridges?
Terribly wet, I imagine.
Well, logic, like functionalism, can also be twisted to strange uses. I'm reminded of the centipede who refused to go under the viaduct because the clearance was limited to 13 feet. Richard, you're a boy who's determined to go places, right?
Yes, sir, I think so.
Going far. Snapped up by some big concern or firm for your valuable scientific mind?
In charge of research. Invent things, improve them, perfect them.
Invent things just like that?
Or invent things for other things?
For people.
Ah, yes, people. You hadn't mentioned them. I wasn't sure.
They're the ones who buy the products, aren't they?
I wasn't sure how you classified people. As customers or as mankind?
I think I know mankind as well as the next fellow.
Ah, now we're getting into semantics again. The next fellow, Richard, is a mythical being utilized for purposes of reference by those seeking support for unworthy arguments. His credit standing is nil, and his social security number is 0-0. Now, you, as a practicing scientist, shouldn't call upon such an inexact figure as the next fellow.
You're just sparring with me, Dr. Hall. What does all this have to do with my graduation and getting on with my scientific work?
But I think, Richard, that Dr. Hall is trying to point out that he doesn't approve of half-educated graduates.
Did you ever read history for fun, Richard?
No, sir. I never considered it fun.
Are you familiar with Moby Dick?
Certainly. As a boy, it's a very exciting adventure story for teenage boys.
Oh, good heavens, no, if I may venture an opinion.
It's for rulers and saints, soldiers and philosophers, poets and leaders. The good soul, Ahab, turned into a dangerous man by his pursuit of the demon whale, because he has no goal but to kill the huge thing. Ahab, stung by his own vanity, flinging himself against the lashing winds and crashing tides of sea that...
Ahoy there, Captain Hall.
Oh, yes. Well, anyway, as for the human being, few things tell us quite as much as a Melville or a Tolstoyan paragraph, a Jonathan Swift epigram.
Well, I'll take pi equals 3 1400.
And assuming you do succeed in squaring the circle, Richard, Who will be there to applaud your wondrous feat?
Beth, for one. Beth Lansing, my wife.
You see, Toddy, he has got other interests.
Oh, I'm overwhelmed and delighted. Is your wife a scientist too, Richard?
Not exactly.
Not exactly a scientist?
Well, I'm sure I didn't mean not exactly a wife.
Yes, I did, Mrs. Hall.
Oops, sorry.
We're engaged. She's a senior, too. We were going to be married when I graduated. If I graduate. If it's possible to let a straight-A science student get a diploma at this college.
Well, several of them have received diplomas, but they weren't so insistent about altering the entire course of study at Ivy.
I don't care about the course of study. I'm speaking of me. Let anyone else do what he likes, but so far as I'm concerned, an hour's study on anything else is 1 hour less I can devote to science. Goodbye, Mrs. Hall. Dr. Hall.
Is he really as bright a science student as he says he is?
Oh, he most certainly is. But if I were a little younger, a little stronger, I might throw him to the floor and sit on his chest while I reread the classics aloud to him.
Well, speaking of his chest, I have a notion. The best way to a man's heart
is through his stomach, according to the old adage. An adage which I reject as being medically impractical, aesthetically distasteful, and conversationally repulsive.
Well, how about the way to a man's heart is through his heart? Simple approach. Why play an organ recital?
My very point. Then I take it you're referring in your oblique feminine way to Beth Lansing, who I'm sure sees no faults in our unromantic young friend.
Oh, sure. The only time a woman ever understands her husband is before she marries him. Incidentally...
Yes?
Why did you ask Richard if he'd read history for fun? Well, I mean, aside from finding out if he'd had any other interests.
Because, like so many impetuous people, he has no understanding whatsoever of the pertinence of accumulated knowledge in fields other than his own. He's never understood that wise men have recorded their yesterdays to help fools meet their tomorrows.
Why didn't you tell him that before he left?
Because that is what I call one of my taxicab rejoinders.
What on earth is a taxicab rejoinder?
That, my darling, is the devastating retort you could have used to such good effect at the party, but don't think of until you're on your way home. Now, what about Beth Lansing?
When you think of beer, think of this. Schlitz tastes so good to so many people, it's the largest selling beer in America.
Back in 1849, a little brewery in the village of Milwaukee produced the first barrel of Schlitz beer. Before that time, people didn't pay much heed to the name of the brewer. Beer was beer, and that's all anyone cared to know. In the years between, however, people began to notice that certain brands of beer had more to offer than others. As the brewer's brand increased in importance, both Schlitz and Milwaukee became known throughout the world. Milwaukee as the home of premium beer. Schlitz as the beer that made Milwaukee famous. Today, this outstanding Milwaukee-born beer has an even more special distinction. Schlitz, the beer that made Milwaukee famous, tastes so good to so many people that it's first in sales in America. The taste that built that popularity is yours in every glass of Schlitz beer. Enjoy it, for chances are you'll like Schlitz best, too. Rejoin the halls of Ivy, we find Dr. Hall, who's been working on the project of adding a spur line of human emotion to the single-track mind of Richard Alden, just entering the house.
Vicky.
In here. Come on in, darling. Yeah, now, darling, this is Beth Lansing. Beth Dr. Hall.
Hello, Dr. Hall.
Oh, I'm delighted to see you. I'm very curious to know how Richard's getting along.
Yeah, but that's what Beth called me about.
Well, he isn't getting along very well.
He seems to be muttering things about you, Toddy.
Well, not really muttering, shouting. He shouts now, and he never used to. Well, that's why I had to talk to you, Mrs. Hall.
But why didn't you talk to me, Beth?
Oh, it was the roundabout approach, I guess. I was being feminine and clever by taking it up with Mrs. Hall. Anyhow, how could I talk to you about how Richard dislikes you?
Well, naturally, I prefer to be liked rather than disliked. But I've found that an antagonism here or there is not necessarily lethal. Any person with character is bound to find a few opponents. But as long as his adversaries are outnumbered by his allies, this is mere stimulation.
Yeah, well, speaking of, as one of Dr. Hall's allies, Beth, just how does Richard feel?
He feels like, well, that you're keeping him from his ultimate fulfillment, Dr. Hall. Those were his very words.
They sound like his very words, the dear young pinhead.
Well, I'm not the founder of Ivy College, Beth. The required study has been in effect for several years. Richard should realize that.
If we'd known he was coming, we'd have baked a curriculum.
Well, that's it. He can't see that. He can't see anything. He just says it's all your fault and doesn't know why.
Well, a more articulate man once had a similar feeling about the head of another college. He said, "I do not love thee, Dr. Fell. The reason why I cannot tell. But this alone I know full well. I do not love thee, Dr. Fell."
But that's just how he feels. For a fellow with a scientific mind, I keep telling him he isn't being very scientific. Accusing you of purposely holding him back without having any proof.
But if he looked for proof, he'd come face to face with himself somewhere along the route.
Well, a man who has proposed marriage has faced himself, and several other people, too.
Proposed marriage? Well, Richard never proposed marriage.
Oh, perhaps he sent it to you written up as some sort of equation. Mass equals religious ceremony. Religious ceremony divided by 2 equals marriage. And if bride can make pi, or 3.1416, so much the better.
Oh, no. Our engagement was just understood.
By both of you?
Well, kinda. Well, he keeps talking about our plans for the future. Well, he's never said he loves me. Well, outright. But he's quite emphatic about the future.
Is that fun? I mean, I'd hate to have my hand held by a man who just wanted to read my palm.
No, it isn't much fun, really. Not as much as it should be. But sometimes...
Well, as long as you're happy with it that way.
Well, I have to make allowances for the fact that Richard isn't very demonstrative.
No, to demonstrate anything, Richard seems to need a blackboard.
If I'm not too personal, what allowances does a woman in love make for her fiancé's inability to express his affection?
Well, actually, I don't know. Sometimes I think he's just shy. Other times I think he's egotistic. And other times, well, I don't know what I think.
What would you like him to be?
Well, relaxed. I'd like him to be the kind of man who walks in the park and talks to strangers. I'd like him to waste time at least once in a while. I'd like to hear him talk about spring. Well, yes, just about spring.
Or perhaps he can't. I mean, spring isn't scientific. It's emotional.
Oh, that's silly. He could talk about it if he wanted to. The talks have to start sometime. And right now it's fine. You know, I don't think Richard has been very nice to me at all. If you'll excuse me, well, goodbye.
I have a feeling that the scientific Mr. Alden is about due for a rude jolt in his trigonometry.
He's going to have to make at least a temporary choice between Cupid and Pythagoras. Or, to put it bluntly, if he is as bright as I think, he'll swap his Euclid for a uke. Dr. Hall speaking.
Dr. Hall, this is Wellman. Clarence Wellman!
How are you, Mr. Wellman?
My patience knows no bounds, Doctor. But you have strayed into disaster about to befall.
Oh, I hardly feel the situation merits the gravity you bring to it.
Really? Maybe you can afford to sit there and be calm, which is what you're paid for. But it isn't every year the Noblingdale Science Award is offered to an Ivy student, and we may lose it because of sheer, unadulterated stubbornness.
I can't force Richard Alden to study certain subjects.
Blaming the boy won't do any good. And it may interest you to know I am going to suggest to the Board of Governors that they completely alter the student program. There'll be no repetition of this effect.
Well, you mean alter the curriculum to suit one petulant student? Oh, I feel we can work out some sort of compromise on this.
Now, see here, I'm not interested in a compromise. I want a solution. Enough shilly-shally. I mean, beating about it. Did you say compromise?
Yes. Instead of destroying the university by altering the entire pattern of our educational process to conform to Richard Alden's needs...
The point!
Well, we will simply take the 2 or 3 professors who block our path and burn them. That is, if you really think this boy is more important than education itself.
Dr. Hall, one more chance. 24 hours. That's all, and then I go to the Board of Governors. And a word to the wise in time saves... Yes.
Well, Mr. Wellman, if I can possibly think of anything else, I'll call you immediately. Meanwhile, be of good cheer and say hello to the wife and children. Goodbye.
I won't take much of your time, Dr. Hall. I'm leaving school.
For another university?
No, I'm through with all of them.
Well, there's some awfully nice universities around.
Right now, I just want to know why you turned Beth against me. She argued with everything I said.
You mean she had some opinions?
Of her own?
Some. Hundreds. I've never heard so many opinions from one person. And very unsound.
Well, she did seem like a very unreasonable girl. The kind who'd make outlandish demands. She probably thought you should go on a world cruise and settle in Capri.
Did she tell you that?
Well, no. But sometimes you can tell by just looking.
All she told me were a bunch of sophomoric ideas about personal relationships, emotional attachments.
Love?
I always thought a woman wanted security. And what's more secure than a husband who has a scientific training? What could be more security to any woman?
The husband himself, I should think.
Well, that's assuming you are a scientist, Richard. You could easily become nothing more than a batch of remembered axioms and mathematical problems which an electronic machine can solve faster and better, and which wouldn't flirt with a switchboard girl.
That's an awful thing for a college president to say.
I'm simply trying to tell you that science as an end in itself is not so amazing. Nature has made the trapdoor spider a great engineer. A bee can construct perfect hexagons in wax. But your future associates will be people, not insects.
I'm exactly what this college taught me to be.
Oh, pardon me. You are only what you permitted this college to teach you, what you let yourself be taught. Now, I'm sure you've read Diderot's Scientific Encyclopedia.
Every page of it.
In it, the world of the 18th century saw new hope to bring it out of its trembling despotism. It saw Diderot's scientific examination as long needed. But there were men of dark little notions and limited minds who so viciously opposed Diderot's explanation of facts, they came terribly close to destroying this masterwork.
But Diderot won, didn't he? He beat them all.
He did. He did, as you so quaintly put it, beat them all. But not until a non-scientific mind came to his rescue. Not until Voltaire, who was nothing but a writer and whose only province was people, not until Voltaire wrote so strongly for the right of all men to examine truth as they wish. Not until then
didn't know that.
No. You knew the text, but you didn't know the people.
Well, more. What happened next?
Well, nothing much, except that Voltaire made his point because he believed we were each other's enemy as long as we lived only for ourselves.
Don't know people. Maybe I don't.
Study them. Study them. They may not be scientific, but they're good collateral reading.
Yeah, I guess I'd better shut up until I do.
And don't forget, it's a wise man and a successful one who knows the precise psychological moment when to say nothing. Oscar Wilde, Victoria Poets, course 293A.
You know something? I've been a knucklehead. That's an expression from Upperclassman 51, Bull Session. Thank you, Doctor. I appreciate the new slant you've given me.
Oh, you're quite welcome, I'm sure. And, Richard, while you're broadening your outlook and congratulating yourself on the Noblingdale Award, I'd suggest a rereading of Alice in Wonderland.
Alice in Wonderland?
Yes, by Lewis Carroll, writer of magical nonsense, who was also, I think it is pertinent to remind you, Charles Ludwig Dodgson, a mathematician. He did a great deal of summing up with figures of speech.
Yeah, I think I see what you mean. Thank you, sir. And, well, thanks.
You needn't look so smug, Doctor. It wasn't just you. After all, it's June, and he's young, and he's got a girl.
Yes, I know, my darling. The satisfaction which you detected on my face was not so much from any personal triumph as it was an agreeable appreciation of the fact that between you and me and Spring and Beth
and Mr. Wellman,
yes, and even the ubiquitous Clarence, between us all, we have succeeded in keeping a budding scientist from becoming a blooming idiot.
When you think of beer, think of this. Schlitz tastes so good to so many people, it's the largest selling beer in America.
America today faces two enemies: aggression abroad and inflation at home. With a double job to do, we need to step up our production faster than ever before, produce more goods every hour of every day of every week. In peacetime, our free American economic system has given us an unrivaled standard of living. The defense program will call for sacrifices, but the more we produce, the fewer those sacrifices will be. Remember, the better we produce, the stronger we grow. Here again are Mr. and Mrs. Ronald Coleman.
Good night, everybody.
Night.
We'll be seeing you next week at the same time at the Halls of Ivy, starring Mr. and Mrs. Ronald Coleman. Mr. Wellman is played by Herbert Butterfield. Also in our cast were Gene Bates and Eddie Firestone. Tonight's script was written by Arthur Ross and Don Quinn. The Halls of Ivy was created by Don Quinn, directed by Nat Wolf, and presented by the Joseph Schlitz Brewing Company of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, who invites you to enjoy the Pulitzer Prize Playhouse on television on Friday nights. Ken Carpenter speaking.
Hear the great Gildersleeve and his lovable family on NBC.
USA, the greatest entertainers in America, as requested by you, the men and women in the United States Armed Forces throughout the world. Command Performance, presented this week and every week till you're back from over there. Okay there, gang, here comes another half-hour combination taffy pull and cockeyed carnival, featuring your favorite stars as per your request to Command Performance, Armed Forces Radio, Los Angeles, USA. And here's your head taffy puller, the Boston bombshell, Fred Allen.
Thank you very much, Ken Carpenter, and hi, fellows. Ken, I'm amazed. I had no idea that you knew that I hail from up Boston way.
Well, it was just a wild guess, Fred.
Really?
Yes, I happen to notice.
You teased it up for this one show.
This one show.
Guess wasn't wild when you started. You teased it up.
You see, I happen to notice that baked bean hanging from your watch chain.
Well, that's no baked bean, Ken. That's an elk's tooth with a California sun tab.
See, Fred, it looks so awfully round and smooth to be an elk's tooth.
Well, you see, Ken, that tooth has been kept pretty busy lately. After about 10 years of service in the elk's mouth, it was a stand-in for my pivot tooth for 3 more seasons. But so much for improvised dentistry, Ken.
Mr. Alice!
Well, Portland. Portland, this is a surprise. What are you doing way out here in California?
Mama brought me to Hollywood to get in the movies.
Movies? No kidding. How is it going?
I took a screen test, and I start working tomorrow.
What company?
Lockheed.
I'm sorry you can't get into pictures, though, Portland.
Mama thought I'd be another Lana Turner.
Lana, well, something must have happened with your test.
I had my sweater on backwards.
You had no profile, hey? Well, you'll probably like it better at Lockheed anyway.
Maybe. Mama and Papa are working there. Papa's a riveter.
Really?
Yes. The foreman picks on Papa for working too slow.
Oh, too slow with the rivets, huh?
Yes. The foreman tells Papa when he puts in the lead, he should get the lead out.
I get it. Well, that last rivet clinched your argument, Portland. So now I'd like to present a great favorite with the AEF everywhere, the girl who put the form in command performance, Miss Ginny Sims.
I took a choo-choo fast as I could take a choo-choo. It gave a long, 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 long way to take you in my arms. And now it's your first move to prove that you've been through. Come to baby do. You've been away, way, 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 way beyond the blue horizon. I hope that no one else is on your mind. So pucker up, my sweet, and meet your Waterloo. Come to baby Drew. Me from guessing, it's no time to tease. All this dressing, put your begging baby at ease. I wanna love you just the way I wanna love you. I'm gonna try to make you try to understand. When all is said and done, the one for me is you. The one for me. Come to baby, do come to baby, come to baby, do.
Thank you. That was very nice, Ginny Sims and the Sportsman.
Oh, thank you. Fred, this really is a surprise. Well, I had no idea you were in town. I haven't seen you out at any parties or anything.
Well, Ginny, I've been so busy looking for a place to stay, I haven't had much time for social life.
Did you finally get a room?
Ginny, I haven't slept since I got here in town.
Well, did you advertise in the papers?
Certainly. I've had an ad in for a week. The ad reads, "Gentleman with pajamas wants to meet sleeping bag."
Oh, Fred, I'm sure you're exaggerating about all
No,
this.
honestly, Ginny, I really tried all the big hotels and couldn't even get by the doorman. I finally found a little ivy-covered hotel on a side street. It looked homey and very quiet. I opened the door.
Quiet, everybody, quiet. We're just getting nowhere this way. Quiet, please.
Now that's better. Everybody stay in line or I'll squirt my fountain pen at you. Pardon me, sir. My name is Mr. Gable. I'm the clerk. Oh, Clerk Gable. Well, Mr. Gable, I'd like to get a room. You dreamer. How can I be a dreamer? I haven't slept for 7 days.
Pardon me, Mr. Gable. The lady in room 503 says there's a nurse in her room.
Well, tell the lady in 503 that our cat is busy in 907.
Yes, sir.
Oh, I'm getting out of here. Just a minute, Bud. I'm the house detective, and you'll have to submit to a search. A search? Yeah, one of our brass cuspidors is missing. Why, this is ridiculous. What would I do with the brass cuspidor? Does that answer your question? I can't stand any more of this. So it went, Ginny. I tried every possible way to get a room, but to no avail. I decided to make a phone call as a last resort. I sneaked into a phone booth.
Oh, Mr. Benny's residence. Autograph oranges. 10 cents a piece.
Rochester, this is Mr. Fred Allen. I just got in from New York.
Why don't you come on over for dinner, Mr. Allen? Mr. Benny's pet chicken is awful sick.
His chicken is sick? What's wrong with it?
I'm frying it to death.
Well, Rochester, here's what I called about. Is there any chance of using Mr. Benny's room while he's away?
If you say use or rent.
I get it. I tell you what, Rochester, I'll take the room, and when Mr. Benny gets home, I'll give him a check for whatever he wants.
Give him a check?
Well, yes.
That kind of eliminates the middleman, don't it?
Well, how about this? I'll give you the check, and you can give it to Mr. Benny.
How about this? You give me the cash and let nature take its course.
Well, I don't see why we should be arguing about money, Rochester. After all, you should be glad to have someone around the house. You must be mighty lonesome in that big place there, all alone.
All alone? Oh, Mr. Allen, come now.
Rochester, I hesitate to think what Mr. Benny will say when he gets home.
Won't do for radio, will he?
I'm afraid not. Well, Rochester, I guess I won't get much rest at the house of Benny with all your friends whooping it up around there.
I'm inclined to agree. You're so right.
So I'll just let the room go. Goodbye, Rochester.
Goodbye, Mr. Allen. That was a close one. I nearly rented the room, honey.
Honey? Rochester, to whom were you just talking?
Oh, that was my cousin Sylvester. Sylvester J. Honey. Goodbye, honey. I mean, Mr. Allen.
So you see, Jenny, I've really been trying to get a place to stay, but it's no use.
It's a sad tale, Fred.
Yes, it is. And a long one, too, Jenny. But enough of my trouble. Let's get on with the show. Gang, in accordance with our new policy here on Command Performance, each week our vice president in charge of hangnails thumbs through your letters and picks the vice president of APOs and FPOs. This week, I'm happy to say the winner by a cuticle and a slick forefinger is Miss Martha Mears.
From his tiny, turned-up nose to his tender little toe, he's a carbon copy of the soldier boy I love, the little guy who looks like you. And for Daddy, every night he holds Mommy, oh, so tight. When I miss your sweet embrace
fine angel take your place, the little guy who looks like you. Night and day, we will pray and yearn for peace on earth, and our loved ones safe return to a world that sings again of the people sings again. Until then, I thank you, dear, for a precious souvenir, the little guy who looks like you. Night and day, we will pray and yearn for peace on earth, and our loved ones safe return to a world that sings again of the people sings again. Until then, I thank you, dear, for a precious souvenir. That funny little guy, that precious little guy, the little guy who looks like you.
Thank you very much, Martha Mears. Gentlemen of the AEF, it's a real pleasure for me to introduce our next guest, one of Hollywood's finest actors.
Who is it, Mr. Allen?
You'll find out for them. This man is a real actor. His diction, his every gesture, the way he lives and breathes the role.
Who is it?
The Academy Award winner, Mr. Paul Lucas.
Thank you, Fred Ellen, and hello, man.
Yeah, that was great, Paul. Hello, men. What a reading you gave that line.
It was nothing, Fred.
Nothing, he says. What inflection on that nothing. What timing. You know, I'm going to pick up plenty of pointers tonight.
By the way, Fred, what are you doing out here in Hollywood?
Well, I'm here to make a picture, Paul, but don't let it worry you.
No, it won't. It won't.
You see, I'm making a comedy.
Comedy?
Yes.
Like Jack Benny, huh?
Mr. Lucas. If Jack Benny is a comedian, I, sir, am a fish peddler.
I'll take a pound of mackerel.
Shall I wrap it up, or will you eat it here? But, Paul, I'm glad to have this chance to talk to you because in my picture I have one dramatic scene where I have to make love to the leading lady. Now, do you think you could give me a little coaching?
Well, the main thing is to have confidence in yourself. And be convincing. Now, for instance, let me hear you say, I love you.
I love you.
No. I love you.
I love you.
I love you.
I love you.
Gentlemen, please, after the program.
Now, you stay out of this, Ken. I'm trying to win an Oscar.
Oh, brother, if that wins an Oscar, I'm a fish peddler.
Well, go across the hall. I'm working this studio. Paul, in a way, I'm sort of sorry that you're on this particular command performance.
Well, I don't see why. I've been nice to you. And I bought some fish.
I know, I haven't wrapped it up yet. But you don't understand, Paul. You are a great dramatic actor, and for our play, we planned on doing a typical daytime serial.
Daytime serial? Why, that's wonderful.
Well, you mean you don't think that sort of thing is beneath you?
Au contraire, monsieur. I think the daytime serial offers great opportunities for dramatic acting. I'd like to play in one.
Well, all right, Paul. I think I can fix it for you. You know how all of those daytime serials start? First, the organ plays. And then the announcer always says,
The Muck and Fuss Family. Starring Paul Lucas and brought to you by the makers of Muck, the breakfast food that is no fuss to prepare. The makers of Muck, that breakfast deal nice. Say, try our food, start your day right. Get up tomorrow morning, don't be a cluck, and eat a heaping plate of muck. Muck, 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 muck. Remember, muck is the only breakfast food that is vice versa. Muck is delicious with sugar and cream. Or, vice versa, sugar and cream is delicious with muck. And folks, muck doesn't crunch, crackle, pop, or bubble. When it hits the plate, it just lays there. And now for our story.
Ladies and gentlemen, you remember the horrible plight of the Muckenfuss family when we left them yesterday. Millicent Muckenfuss, aged 17, despite her broken leg, has just eloped with Rodney Repogel, a traveling salesman. Her grandfather, Rufus Muckenfuss, despite his broken arm, took the news philosophically as he fell out of his rocking chair due to an overdose of rum. Mother and Father Muckenfuss, despite their broken hearts...
Fred, does everything have to be broken?
Well, that's the way it goes in daytime serials, Paul. There's always trouble.
Mother and Father Muckenfuss naturally were upset because they had hoped Millicent would marry Julius J. Crumcake, a prominent baker.
Julius J. Crumcake, that's you in the play, Paul.
Good. Old Judge Hooper, friend of the family, has just dropped in to chisel a free meal and give some advice. But first, a word from our sponsor.
But when do we start the play, Fred?
Patience. You have to be patient, Paul. Sometimes it takes 2 or 3 days to finish the commercials and explain what happened yesterday.
Remember, folks, muck contains flavonoids. That famous no-burp vitamin. And flavonoid, that famous no-burp vitamin, contains muck. Comes out even, doesn't it? And now for our story.
As the scene opens, Father Muckenfuss is speaking.
Just think, Ma. Our little Millicent has run away with that Rodney Repogel, the ant-paste salesman.
She's left the note under her pillow, Paul.
Let me see that. No, not the pillar. I can't read the pillar. Hand me the note. Dear Mommykins and Daddykins, I have ran away with Rodney Repogel, although I hardly know him. Despite my broken leg, I hope we shall be better acquainted when we return. Your loving daughter in the cast, Millie. P.S. P.S. Don't rent my room, as Rodney thinks it'll be so nice to come home to. Please excuse my handwriting, as I just broke my wrist.
It's terrible, Paul. What will Julius J. Crumcake, the prominent baking, say?
Yeah. There's Julius J. Crumcake, the prominent baker, now.
How can you tell?
The dough on his knuckles mute his knob. Come in.
Mummy and Packy Muckenfuss. I bring you greetings and fresh apple strudel. But where is my fair one, my Millicent?
Julius, I got bad news for you.
Strudel stinks, eh?
No, it's about Millie. She's eloped with Rodney Repo.
No. No, it can't be true. You must be jesting. Millicent loves me. Do you hear? Me.
Well, maybe so, but I saw her jumping over the back fence with Rodney.
Despite her broken leg?
Yeah, it took her 3 jumps, but she finally made it.
What's the note? Here, read it.
2 girdles, 4 steppings, 8 bobby
No,
socks.
hold on, Julius. That's her laundry list. Turn it over.
Oh. Curse it. It is true. She has left me for another man. Just when I had named the Millicent Muckenfuss Parker House roll in her honor.
The Millicent Muckenfuss Parker House roll, you say, Julius?
Yes, it is an innovation. I fold them to the left. Just wait till I get my hands on that Rodney. I'll bash his brains in with a loaf of stale French bread.
Now, hold on. Control yourself, Julius J. Crumbcake the Baker. Even if you did win the Academy Award. Now, let down. Try to relax. Come in. Millicent Rodney.
Hello, everybody. We're back.
Boy, am I hungry.
Hungry, Rodney?
Yeah. We've been away 2 days with nothing but crackers and handshakes.
Millie, aren't you going to say hello to your former sweetheart, Julius J. Crumbcake? Sure. Hello, Julius.
Me too. What's new around the oven there, Joel, huh?
Don't speak to me, you scoundrel, you wretch, you black-hearted knave. You have stolen my Millicent. Stolen her before I had a chance to unveil the Millicent Muckenfuss Parker House roll. Despite my broken back, I have a mind to whip you within an inch of your life.
Boy, what a performance.
You said it, Rodney.
Why, you low worm. Put up your hands and defend yourself. Come on, fight.
Okay, I'll marry you.
Now, hold on. I heard what he said, but hold on. Hold on, Rodney. Hold on, Julius. There'll be no brawling in the Muckenfuss house. Now, I'm running things round here, and we'll discuss this matter sensibly. And that's that. Aha!
No, you didn't steal the cuspidor, huh?
No, Gumshoe, I didn't steal the cuspidor.
Don't tell me. I caught you red-handed and wet-lipped.
Now, this cuspidor's just a prop in the play here. Now, Flatfoot, you get out of here.
Don't you get rough with me. I got you covered.
Oh, yeah? Give me that gun.
Well, that's it, folks. Tune in tomorrow for another episode in the life of the broken-down Muckenfuss family. Remember,
the makers of Muck say goodbye to you. They hope that you will try their goat tomorrow before you go to work. Eat a bowl of muck or you're an awful jerk.
Has written many enduring melodies, but none more lovely than the one I'd like to sing for you tonight. How deep is the ocean? How much do I love you? I'll tell you no lie. How deep is the ocean? How high is the sky? How many times a day
Well, men, we've battered the static around pretty badly tonight and completely ruined whatever chance Paul Lucas has of ever winning another award of any kind. However, we're glad you dropped in, and we hope you'll be around next week when it's command performance time again. Meantime, this is Fred Allen saying the best of the best from the USA.
This is the Armed Forces Radio Service.